Listen, meanwhile, I thought I was the one who wasn't sober. It's our producer, the guy who is actually truly sober, and he hit the mute button. That is Amateur Hour 101.
All right.
What, are we just now live for the first time?
Do the real intro now.
Oh, hey guys, for the second time.
We're doing it live.
I'm Rich, and I'm here in New York, and I'm sober. This is Matt.
Hey.
This is Garrett.
How's it going?
This is Jared.
What's up?
We're here the day after the NFL draft has concluded.
That is correct.
Oh, wow, I almost spilled this beautiful coffee.
You want me to put it on the table for you?
No, don't you dare touch my black self. Don't worry about what I got going on here.
Easy.
Hey, listen.
Put your dogs away.
After the NFL draft, we had told ourselves this draft class was going to change pretty drastically because of the tiers that we had these players in, right?
Yep.
So I know we're going to draft players today, Superflex, tight end, premium, but that did occur. And 5 days ago, we did a mock draft based on tape.
Correct.
And we were sitting there going in the third round, like, man, I like the potential here. Now, 5 days later, like at 212, you're like, man, this is pretty gross.
Yep.
I don't want a lot of this action. So I'm really interested in how this is all going to play out. There's definitely some surprises, some disappointments as well.
Always is.
There always is. There's going to be players that you love that get drafted behind somebody who's a starter, possibly drafted behind somebody who already went in the second round at running back, and you love that player. And it's a controversial love because he goes to your favorite football team. So a lot of action.
That's not a specific example, just a generic.
It's a very random.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like just me really kind of just making stuff up on the fly because that's what we're going to do here because we're live.
Yep.
Who got the first pick?
I do. So,
Easiest pick in the draft.
easiest pick in the draft.
Slam dunk it.
Superflex, tight end, premium.
Just when things couldn't get
We're
any
still
easier.
going running back here, Ashton Genty. And I mean, we've talked at length. Everyone knows Ashton Genty at this point, but I think it's important to state, even though it's a Superflex draft, still going Genty over Cam Ward, at who's the quarterback. Still going running back. The hit rates on first-round running backs, even top 10 running backs, are just, you don't pass up on these kind of guys. Like, these are elite fantasy assets. And there's still like a 50% chance that the quarterbacks aren't going to hit, even though they're taken first overall. So I'm going Genty, fantastic landing spot. And with the Raiders, they're going to pound the rock, and they're going to do it with him. So easy pick.
Done.
Yep.
All right, that puts me up at pick 2. And for me, this is a tier. It's a small tier, but it's a tier of 2 players. I have no problem going with Cam Ward with this selection. I think it's a completely justifiable pick in Superflex leagues. But as Jared was just talking about, first-round running backs tend to do very, very well, especially when you're looking at guys as far as top 12 type of potential. And
75% hit rate.
And you have Omarion Hampton get drafted by the Chargers at pick 22. So I know the initial sting was, ooh, they just drafted Najee Harris. And there might be people out there that are actually, I saw some of the YouTube comments, even though many people were like, you don't move Omarion Hampton down because of that. There were other people like that. Yes, you absolutely do. So I'm here to tell you, look, Najee signed a 1 year deal.
Yep.
1 year deal. Omarion Hampton just went to what is projected to be one of the most run-heavy offenses in the NFL, to a team that has one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. You could tell me that at some point in Omarion Hampton's career, there's a 1,700-yard rushing season in there, and it would not shock me. It would not shock me in the least. So I think for me, I'm taking Omarion Hampton at 2. I understand Cam Ward at 2, and I think it's a totally fine, justifiable pick. But for me, in a vacuum, all things being equal, I'm taking Omarion Hampton.
Yeah, I think Hampton can give you, like, if you take Hampton here, again, I'm with you. I think you take Ward and be totally fine with it. But I do feel like Hampton's going to put up the kind of production where he'll be able to get you a proven mid-round quarterback, most likely. You might add a little on top to get a better quarterback in Superflex, but he's going to open the doors for you. Everybody wants that young, talented running back. And you're right. By 2026, this guy is going to be a 1,500-yard rusher year in and year. That offensive line is extremely good. So I love that landing spot.
Yep. No, I like the landing spot as well. Obviously Hampton, he's the all-purpose guy. He's the pounder. He can go between the tackles. He can catch passes. He does everything. So for fantasy purposes, I think easily he's going to be one of these guys that's kind of habitually a running back one. So taking him here is.
Do we all agree that Cam Ward and Omarion are the tier and that's it? Would we flip those guys for any of you? Where you would take if you would have been at 2, taking Ward over Hampton? Like, how do you guys feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm at 3, and I'll just go ahead and say it. I took Cam Ward next,
right?
And I would have taken him at 2.
Okay.
And it's just because it's Superflex, it's premium. That's a premium position, and he went 1 overall. He's going to get all the chances in the world.
Absolutely.
So I mean, that's my pick at 3, and that's the reason. I mean, it's pretty easy. I don't think you have to overly explain this one.
No,
they're going to be building and putting pieces around him, in the next couple of years, and they're in Tennessee. So, I think it's an easy choice, especially if you need a quarterback.
Yeah, my second tier is like a menage of 3. There's 3 of us in here getting all wet and wild, and it's Cam Ward, Hampton, and I'm going to throw Travis Hunter into that tier.
That
is
like
I have him in the next
to
tier.
answer your question. Yes, I would also.
So it's one of those.
Travis Hunter in there.
So I went into this process, and not going into this process. I ended this process being like a very tier-based rookie group, and these tiers got a little bit more solidified. And I think the one thing that really kind of changed was obviously Hampton slide up there into my tier 2 lock. But this is a draft class where, listen, you can never go wrong. If you have any of the slightest remote need for a quarterback, you should take Cam Ward at 2. At 3, wherever you can get him, you should take Cam Ward. If you have the need for a quarterback, say like your quarterback 2 is Aaron Rodgers, say it's Justin Fields, say it was Kirk Cousins or Russell Wilson, like you need a quarterback, right? That's the foundation of your Superflex team. So from that point, you should take Cam Ward. Now, if you don't need a quarterback, say you're sitting there with Jordan Love and Trevor Lawrence, you can never go wrong and a third quarterback. They're fantastic trade value, right? If Cam Ward looks good, you're getting a proven running back. You're getting a proven receiver. But I would throw Travis Hunter in that mix. Am I on the clock?
The only thing I'll slightly different on is I am still like very big on best available. So if you truly have those guys tied, then I'm fine going need. But if you have one or the over the other, and I don't care which one it is, like I'm still taking the best player on my board.
Yeah, I have them all tied. Like I have it as
because sometimes you have them all on a tier, but that doesn't necessarily mean you have them all tied.
Right.
I do have them all kind of tied. Like I can go either.
Okay.
Like
then I'm fine with that.
I'm an equally satisfied customer any way you want to rub me. So for me, like Travis Hunter offers me.
We are live, Rich.
What's that got to do with anything? What, you want to rub me live? Come on, this is children's could be watching here. Sunday, Jesus, man. And Travis Hunter offers tier 1 elite wide receiver production. Omarion Hampton offers tier 1 elite running back production.
Sure.
Cam Ward, he offers maybe like say start like we could just throw him in there right around quarterback 15. That's elite fantasy football production, right? So for me, I do have them all kind of equally, and like I would be okay like building my team for where it need to fit between those 3 players. At no point when I'm like, oh, I got to take this guy because he's clearly better. I think the outcomes for all those players are extremely high from a fantasy football production. So I would go where my team. If I need a receiver, I'm taking Travis Hunter. If I need a running back, or I think the running back's gonna be the easiest player to flip for the proven quarterback or for the proven receiver, I'm taking Hampton. If I would need a quarterback at all, he's the clear choice. He's the easiest piece for me to fill because if I need a quarterback, there's no other thought process here. Now at 4, I'm taking Travis Hunter because I feel like I'm with you guys. Like I'm ending that tier for me. The next tier is still sexy, right? It's not me. It's not me right now. I understand how I look. You don't even read the comments. I understand. It was a rough night. Okay. I had a little fun. I blame you mostly. You, not you. You're my protector and guardian.
Thank you.
You are a bad influence on me.
No, you're
I'm gonna
bad.
tell my wife on you.
You're bad.
But like this next tier is another small tier, and I enjoy it. But Travis Hunter and me, he offers that upside. I mean, Jacksonville just gave him. Listen, I know they gave up Heat because he played cornerback too, but even they said, "Hey, we're going to predominantly play him at receiver.
First, yeah.
We're going to sprinkle my quarterback." His ball skills, his speed, the draft capital they just invested in him. And you might say, "Hey, whoa, what about Brian Thomas? What about Brian Thomas out there?"
Right.
2 receivers can win. We've seen it multiple times over the last decades where 2 receivers are wide receiver ones and offense. If AJ Brown, Devontae Smith can do it, I sure as hell think Travis Hunter and Brian Thomas can do it. Yes, Brian Hunter's elite, but Travis Hunter just went
Brian Thomas is elite.
Yeah, I'm elite too. Brian Thomas
Brian
just
Hunter
went
would be amazing though.
That would be a really good player.
Yeah.
CrossFit. Travis Hunter just went 1-2 in the NFL draft. You don't see receivers. And again, I know he's a cornerback too. You don't see them go that high. And people are like, well, Ted McMillan. Like, Ted McMillan does not have the ceiling of a Travis Hunter. Having Trevor Lawrence there, which is one time was considered a generational quarterback, a solid quarterback one, who's a massive winner in this draft, by the way, to get Brian Thomas and Travis Hunter to throw to. So for me, I think Travis Hunter is an easy pick at 1-4. The running backs might be enticing. Brian Thomas does not scare me because they have more invested. They have way more invested now in Travis Hunter than they do Brian Thomas.
It's true.
Right. For me, the reason I want Cam Ward and not Travis Hunter is just the little bit of uncertainty as to whether or not there's ever going to be a time when he's, you know what, maybe this wide receiver thing isn't working out and maybe you're going to be a better cornerback. That was just in the back of my mind enough to take Cam Ward ahead of Travis Hunter, but all valid points. Like he's an excellent player. I think he's going to work out there, but there was just that little.
You want to minimize risk as much as you can.
Yep.
By taking a quarterback.
There you go.
No, I get it. Listen, there's no explanation we get anybody for Cam Ward. Anything outside of that 1-4 is stealing in my eyes.
Oh yeah, he should not. Yeah. All right, Jared, you're back up.
Yeah, I'm next on the clock, and like you guys, that ended a tier for me. So now we enter in a new tier, and I'm gonna pass up the first round tight ends. I'm passing up Ted McMillan, and I'm taking Trevion Henderson here. He lands at the Patriots in round 2. That's a great landing spot. I'm not really. I mean, I think him and Ramondre are going to split to start out, and Henderson's going to be that third down back, which he's going to do very well. And I think this is great for Drake May because this guy's a really, really good weapon
Pass catcher,
and he's great in pass protection. So I love Trevion coming out. He was my RB2, so I'm going to take him here. I think he's going to have a lot of pass catching upside.
No, I think that's a great pick, and there'll be people that are going to be like, you're going to pass up first round draft capital guys for second round draft capital guys. Here's the thing. Top 10, top 15 of the second round is incredible draft capital for running backs. Incredible draft capital for running backs. It's the equivalent of taking a receiver in the top 20. Like, these guys are going to be given every opportunity to succeed. Some of the best running backs we have in the NFL right now, Jonathan Taylor, Breece Hall, all those guys were taken top 10 of Nick Chubb was taken top 10 of the second round. Like, this is a very typical place where teams will say, yeah, we were earlier in the draft. We're not going to take them in the top 10 typically, unless you're Ashton Genty, but we like these guys and we think they can be bell cow backs in the NFL. We'll see how much opportunity Trevion gets to be a true bell cow. That's still kind of up in the air. Is he going to be more of a 10 rush attempts and 7 targets in this offense? Maybe. And we've seen with guys in the past, that's just fine. Yeah. Like, he can do some big things with that. So I like this pick for what it's worth. Had he been available at my pick at 6, I probably would have taken Trevion.
Yeah, I would go Trevion here too. Like, he was my number. At the time, he was my number 2 overall prospect going into this. It doesn't change much. Like you said, pick 2-5 in NFL draft is extremely good draft capital. He's going there with Drake May. Drake May's got good, he can move outside the pocket. He's going to have some good dump offs to Trevion Henderson. He's excellent pass protection there. And we know New England needs help at the offensive line. They don't have a lot of receiving weapons, so he could definitely be a weapon in the receiving game and the running game. Ramondre Stevenson does not scare me in the least bit. They're going to get out from under that contract the moment they can, which would be next year. Yeah. So I think Trevion Henderson is in a fantastic spot. Like, from a player that we didn't expect to go in and be like a 3-down thumper, this is a perfect situation for him. A team that's going to probably be trailing a lot, 4th down, 2-minute drills. He's going to be on the field, chipping, getting out there in the pass, a lot of dump off passes. He's going to be a PPR dream. I think this is a fantastic value pick here. And to be honest with you, I'm kind of glad he didn't okay, first of all, I know I said he was going to first, my bold prediction. I was wrong. But the fact that he did go there and the fact that he wasn't the 3rd running back off the board, he was the 4th. I hope this pushes Trevion down in some leagues to me. I hope he comes available to 2-6. I hope people want to push up these receivers. Definitely, if you want to reach on a Matthew Golden, someone on those lines, please do, because I still want these running backs that we talked about before. I think the heart of this draft is going to be the running back class. Where I want to take the most swings is going to be running back. And then second, it's probably going to be tight end. overall for how this whole draft played out. Like we have a lot of good draft capital for running backs. We have even better draft capital for the tight ends. So Trevion Henderson to me is great value here, and I hope that value gets pushed down to me because I could easily see a guy like Tet McMillan going ahead of him in almost all the drafts because Tet McMillan got top 10 draft capital. Not bad, but I want to chase that upside of that high-end running back. And you're right, Garrett. Second round early draft capital is elite draft capital in today's NFL.
Absolutely. All right, that puts me on the clock, and I had that decision right here with going T-Mac at 6 or the other running back that went in the top 10 of the second round and actually went 2 spots ahead of Trevion Henderson. And that was Quinshon Judkins. A little bit of a surprise that he went ahead of Trevion. And I know that there's going to be people right now that will say, but what about Dylan Sampson?
Right.
You know, and I understand it. Dylan Sampson's a very good player. He's probably going to factor into the third, into the pass catching role and things like that. But we've never looked at Quinshon Judkins as a passing game weapon.
Right.
It was
something he could do.
Yeah, he passed. Yeah. He you know, in the pass, like he's definitely a guy that can do it and do it effectively when needed. But we're not looking at him as a passing game weapon. So does this limit his PPR upside a little bit? Sure. But this is a team that is going to need to run the football. They're a team that wants to run the football.
They're getting back to that for sure.
They're getting back to that absolutely after all of the Watson debacle and all that stuff. And look at who they have at quarterback right now. They're going to run the football.
Which of the 5 guys?
Exactly. Look at their quarterback right now. You pick.
Yeah, the Browns are probably going to run a lot of 22 personnel. It's going to be 2 running backs, 2 tight ends, 2 receivers. That's what's
possibly 2 quarterbacks.
Yeah, it's
It
possible.
might be. Let's just line them all up
And
take turns throwing it.
When Junkins went 2-3 to the
Got
Browns,
a righty and a lefty, you know.
yeah, why not roll them out?
Switch pitcher.
Like that was amazing. Like to be the third running back off the board to go that high to a running back needy team that want to get back to the ground and pound. That was fantastic. Now it does. I will say that Dylan Sampson did put a little bit of sadness on that pick because
Kept the ceiling a little bit.
yeah, because I like Dylan Sampson a lot. And not only did like the player I like a lot, who I think is a really talented running back, just like go to that team, like, oh, we just didn't add a running back in the 6th round, the 5th round. They took Dylan Sampson in the 4th round, right? So before Shadur Sanders. And for me, that's a really big investment. Andrew Berry came out afterward and said, hey, you know, sometimes the board just falls. Like we're not reaching for anything. We're taking the best players available. And that showed because Dylan Sampson to me was the best player available on the board. So that hurt a little bit because you're right. Without that PPR value, right? They're going to put with Dylan Sampson. He does really well in the passing game. Now, Quinshon Judkins is very viable in the passing game. He can compete there. It does worry me. Like, how are they going to use this attack? So, like, if you wanted to go, like, I'm okay taking Judkins here, of course, because he's a Brown. So, like, I wouldn't mind getting a little share of this, but I would not be like, I'm going to clock next. I took Tet McMillan.
Yeah, and which I went back and forth on.
Well,
like,
I'm on the clock next.
Okay, I'm not on the clock, but like,
he took Tet McMillan.
No, I took Colston.
Oh, you took Colston.
But I could see like both those players going. Like, if somebody took those players ahead of Judkins, even though Judkins got such great draft capital, I think the Dylan Sampson pick is just enough of a flag to be like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna take the receiver taken in the top 10. I'm gonna take the first tight end off the board in a Ben Johnson offense.
The good news too is we have seen a running back stylistically. I'm not going to comp him to this guy's greatness just yet, but stylistically, in Nick Chubb, very similar to Quinshon Judkins. Yeah. And we saw him year after year. Hey, he's running back 8 this year. He's running back 13 this year. He's running back 12 this year. He's always hovering as like a low end RB1, which is just so crazy valuable when you can have multiple RB1 seasons and you're always in that range. So even though the ceiling maybe isn't as high as some other guys, the floor is super high.
Yeah, he's going to get a ton of carries. And Chubb, to your point, did that without catching passes, really, and being involved in any way in the passing game. So there was always an offsetting pass catching back when Chubb was kind of doing his thing. And Sampson's just going to be that offsetting guy, in my opinion. I don't think Sampson's a guy that operates great between the tackles, so I think he's going to be more of the space guy. I know Rich would
about Jerome Ford, guys. Come on.
And then,
yeah, true.
Well, Jerome Ford, you know, he's probably going to be that guy this year, and if I would imagine they move on from him after his contract's up.
Yeah.
So,
or you just bring back Nick Chubb and tell Jerome Ford to kick rocks. That's what I would do personally if I own the team. But that's just me, and I am selfish. So,
Right.
Matt, you're on the clock.
I'm on the clock.
He is
Next up, I
selfish.
kind of already alluded to the fact that I took Colston Loveland, and obviously the Ben Johnson offense, top 10 capital, all that's kind of going into this. Is it a little bit of a crowded room, and how are we going to figure out all these targets? Yes, but Colston Loveland in the top 10 in Ben Johnson's first year, that's a statement to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know who that's indicting, who he doesn't like in the offense, but to me, he saw something that was missing. Well, Cole Kmet, obviously, but from a pass catching standpoint, you kind of have to look at them all. There's something he didn't have that he wanted, and he went out and got it early in the draft in Colston Loveland. And the guy's phenomenal. He's a pass catching specialist. He's going to be a big part of this offense. So it doesn't scare me that there's a lot of other weapons because they're going to get him involved.
Scares me. It really does. I disagree. I love the player and I think he's going to be just fine. But the fact that they just extended DJ Moore, they just took Roma Dunze at 8 overall, 9 overall last year. Then they take Colston Loveland, and then they come back in the second round high and take Luther Burden. That's a lot of mouths.
How many of those were Ben Johnson picks?
You're right.
Or transactions?
That's,
2.
Yeah, the 2 newest ones. You know what I mean?
But it's still. But I'm not worried about that because I think Roma Dunze talented. I think DJ Moore's talented. And I don't think Ben Johnson's coming in the room like you're not my guy. They're pretty sweet players. So for us, we know historically, right? A tight end needs to be an elite tight end, to be that guy. You need to be at least a number 2 option in that offense. And do I think Colston Loveland can be that? 100%. Do I feel really good about that? If I'm being honest, no, because I really think those other guys around there are really talented. I think bring a guy like Luther Burden and who's a lot like DJ Moore, guys that could definitely thrive with the ball in their hands, close to the line of scrimmage. That worries me a little bit. Where Colston Loveland can be that really nice tight end, but living in that 7-8 range of tight ends, which is again that's replaceable. Now, could he exceed that? 100%. The tape's there. He's a big wide receiver. But for me here, I think I would pass in this spot just because of that worry. Again, if I have an option against something, I have a little less worry. Again, a Tad McMillan for 7 o'clock. I take Tad McMillan. I would take Tad McMillan in a tight end premium league over Loveland every single time. He was picked higher. He's picked 8 overall. He's going to a team that needs weapons, right? And to a team where, listen, Adam Thielen looked good from a fantasy perspective when he was healthy. He succeeded there. So the Bryce Young narrative, yes, it's a big question mark. But once Bryce Young came back in after that benching, Adam Thielen looked pretty good in that offense, right? We don't know what they have Xavier Legette, but they have another first-round receiver that offset him. So Bryce Young's going to get some more weapons. We love Canales as an offensive coordinator. So to me, if I get Ted McMillan with that kind of draft capital, and I know he's going to be the number 1 option in an offense, I'd rather take that than hoping that a guy like Colston Loveland ends up as the number 2 target.
For what it's worth, I'm in a similar boat. I think Tet is in that tier. I don't know that Loveland is in that tier. I think he's in the next tier. I would put both those tight ends in the first quarterback or the second quarterback off the board in kind of a tier. But I think I would separate those tiers where you maybe have them pushed together.
Yep, I do.
You got Trey, Quinshawn, Tet in their own tier.
I actually have Hunter in that tier too.
Oh, okay.
So I have the 2 guys in a mini tier instead of 3.
I actually have a surprise second-round running back ahead of Colston Loveland for me.
Interesting.
One that went to Denver. We'll get to him soon.
Yeah, you'll get a chance to talk about him here soon. Are you up?
No, you're up.
Oh,
yeah, he did Tet at 1-8. So you're at
okay.
1-9.
You already announced
Yep.
that.
Yeah,
All
great. I mean, this is a great spot overall for Tet.
We
expect to get
I
that
agree.
kind of draft capital. It came through. I have some my concerns about him getting off the line, things on there, but he's still a
top 10 wide receiver.
very elite.
He's going to get a lot of
receiver.
opportunity.
And in this draft class, he looks a lot sexier than me than he did from the beginning of watching the tape. The way all the cards kind of fell, I would be real excited to get Tet in because it really does. To me, it starts to get ugly pretty quickly after we get out of the first round of these rookie drafts.
It does.
Unfortunately. Yeah. And isn't that funny how you go into it every year? It's going to be so.
I think the hard part was overall, specifically the running back class. I mean, the first 4 guys did what we kind of thought they would do, more or less.
Yeah.
But then after that, it fell off, and it definitely took what was an amazing strength of this class, and it made it okay.
Well, I mean, you remember the pre-draft process? I was like, this could go the wrong way because there's so many players at the position. Everyone might kind of just hold off, pick other positions, namely defensive tackle, which seems to be coming off the board every other pick. And all the running backs kind of slid.
It definitely makes the 4th round much more intriguing this year than in other years.
Yeah, you remember Xavier Restrepo?
I do. That was mean.
That was mean. That was hurtful and unnecessary.
Wow.
It was hurtful,
All right,
but necessary.
All right, I'm up with pick 9 here, and I'm going with second quarterback taken in the 1st round, Jackson Dart. I think he has some things to work on, but you can't deny the 1st round capital that they invested into him. I think he's going to come in and get a chance to learn under, Russell Wilson's going to start off, and then he's going to get a chance to learn the system with Brian Dable there. He's not going to get just thrown right into the fire. But you pair him up with Malik Neighbors. I think there's a lot of upside here with Dart in that offense, pairing up with Neighbors. And Brian Dable's done it in the past. So with these quarterbacks, I think and he gives you a rushing floor that I didn't mention either. So
yeah, no, that's a big part of it.
I was definitely debating taking like a Tyler Warren.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah, I had him penciled in for a second.
Yeah, you did take him. You actually did take a Tyler Warren. I was like, yes, Jackson Dart. And you're like, just kidding. Yeah, I want Jackson Dart.
I mean, you just can't. It's tough. It's really hard to pass up in Superflex leagues. 1st round quarterback,
especially
at 109,
and especially in this draft where you only have 2 of them.
You're going to dry up pretty quick.
We had 6 last year. Right. We have 2 this year. Like and the second one's in the 20s. We had 6 in the first 12 picks. Yeah. Very, very, very different season when it comes to quarterback.
Yeah, because we lost one. We lost Sanders. Like we thought some of Sanders was going to get 1st round draft capital. He'd be here in your super flex at the back end. We lost him. So this makes that pool so much smaller. And we said before in the pre-draft show, like there's not many opportunities that you get in super flex leagues to draft a 1st round quarterback at the back end of the draft. Like it doesn't present itself often. And when you do, you really do got to gobble it up.
These next few guys here, like with Dart, you're probably gonna have to wait a little bit before he's actually giving you fantasy points.
Not too long behind that turd for Russ.
Same thing with Egbuka, and who's still there. Tyler Warren probably too because of the situation with the Colts. So, yeah, I mean the next guy that would produce for you right away would be RJ Harvey, and I wouldn't take him.
Don't go away our whole draft
quarterback.
Yeah, you want to go through and just read all the draft picks off?
No, I'm just saying who's available or who would be likely to be taken, and it was going through what would go through someone's head at that pick. So, don't invite Jared back. Garrett, you're on the clock. 110.
Yeah. I took Jackson Dart. Oh, wait. I didn't take Jackson Dart because somebody's a taker backer. But I ended up going with Tyler Warren here. And I was totally fine with it. I've gone back and forth so many times on Colston Loveland and Tyler Warren. And they're both such good prospects.
They are.
They win differently. Like I said in the pre-draft process, I have Colston Loveland ahead of Tyler Warren because of the way that he plays. I love the offense that he's in, but at this point, I would be lying if I said that the landing spot didn't worry me a little bit. Not that he would bump down on the top 10. Like I said, he's in a tier with Warren and Dart here. But I think if I had to choose between the 2 guys, I would probably say 70% of the time, I'd probably go Warren at this point, simply because he's potentially the top option in his offense. And that's what we're looking for more than anything else, honestly. Like we're looking for, how can I get a tight end with a crazy target volume? Doesn't always have to be a good offense. It's how many targets am I going to get in said offense? So I think that's the big thing. He's gonna get fed. Hopefully they use him creatively. That's the biggest thing, is like, hi, Brian. Hopefully they use him creatively. That was always kind of my biggest worry, is does he go into an offense where they kind of just use him as a traditional tight end? So like there's still worry here, but he's another guy that went top 15 in the draft. Like you have to be excited about that. So I took Warren.
Yeah, going 12 overall in NFL draft. I don't care that he's the second tight end on the board. Like you said it, you described it to T. I would take him over Colston Loveland too, because he does have that clear path. I mentioned about Colston Loveland, like there's no clear path to be the number 2. You want your tight end to be at worst case number 2. Worst case, Tyler Warren's the number 2 target and option, but there's actually a clear path for him to be the number 1 target and option.
Right.
Definitely with a guy like if Anthony Richardson wins, or even if Daniel Jones wins.
Honestly, it'd be almost better if Daniel Jones wins.
Yeah, like it's a short dump off option there. So in tight end premium league, this is a player that I'd be really excited to get. And honestly, out of so far the first round, I think all these players are nice targets to get right now. So Tyler Warren, to me, he has that path, right? Like he has that clear path to targets, which could put him potentially in. Definitely the way he's used, so versatile in that offense. He could have a manufactured touches in many different ways there in Indy. Definitely with the quarterback worry, even gives you more options. And maybe he'll get behind there to do some more wildcat options out there. So I love that pick there. So before I go to my next pick, I had the last pick.
Matt.
Matt.
Next.
Okay, before Matt goes to his pick, I got to tell you something.
Tell me.
I was hanging out. You guys were all sleeping, and I was intoxicated. And I was like, I don't have much time to stay awake more. So I jumped on Fast Draft real quick and got a quick rookie draft, a quick draft in real quick, just to make sure I could see how I do when I'm intoxicated. Guess what?
Pretty good.
I don't know because I don't remember. I gotta go back and look. I don't know, look. But if you don't know what Fast Draft is, it's the newest best ball app out there today. If you love best ball, if you want to dive into some really fast drafts, you don't have a lot of time. You might be on the toilet on your bathroom break, but you're like, I gotta get my draft in. I need it. Fast drafts is for you, right? Like you're gonna get in there. These drafts are lightning fast. If you make sure you set your board ahead of time, because if you blink the wrong way, it might be over. It's a great way to play best ball. It's a new way to play best ball. You gotta check them out. Draftfaster.com. Fast Draft. Use that promo code NERDS. If you use the promo code NERDS, you deposit $10. You play one of their luxurious, fun games. As a thank you from Nerds, we are going to kindly send you a free 1-year membership to the Nerd Herd, to Dynasty Nerds.
Good.
You'll get access to our app,
Good deal.
all our tools. And right now, there's no better app, no better tools in the business. We have the Nerd Score Plus coming out later today, then the Dynasty GM and the Nerd Herd to help you dominate your rookie draft. So all you got to do is use the promo code NERDS, play in $10 contest. If you're a Nerd Herd member, don't worry. We love you too, baby. We're going to send you a gift certificate to our store. That gift certificate will give you a free shirt, or maybe you just get a super massive discount on a hoodie. Whatever kind of sexy attire you want to wear, like this. I mean, come on. Look at me.
You're good.
I stopped drinking 6 hours ago, and I still look fantastic. Not because of my face, because of this merch. Check it out. Fast Draft. Get on your phone. Promo code NERDS. We're going to hook you up.
Has anyone ever blinked the wrong way?
We send those.
It had to be like one of these real slow
Like,
blink.
I've heard of like sleeping the wrong way,
Right.
or like, but like, blinked wrong.
The promo
Dang
codes
it.
get sent out on a weekly basis. Just want to say that.
Yeah, because
Be patient.
we do get messages all the
Yeah,
time.
actually, it should be going quicker here coming up because
In theory.
we'll be getting reports a little sooner back.
Nice.
Cool.
Also got to make sure we remind you guys about FFPC. FFPC, it's an amazing place to play your dynasty fantasy football leagues. You do not have to stress about leagues folding, going under. There's nothing worse than that. Like if you have a sweet startup right now and you get all these sexy rookies on your team that we're talking about, and you're like, oh, this is gonna be great. I can't wait till next year when everybody's a year in and my team fully blooms, and like, oh no, actually 3 guys don't want to play anymore, and this guy decided that his job's taking too much time, and we're just not gonna do it. Like, there's nothing worse than that.
The worst.
It's awful. So you don't have to worry about that with ffpc.com. You can get in there, use promo code NERDS at myffpc.com. That will get you $25 off your entry. And look, if that's one of these eBay teams, that's great, because some of those are as cheap as like $35. Like, you can get it real cheap. But you can also be like, look, I'm so confident in my drafting skills right now. I'm going to put maybe like $2.5K down on a league. You can do that over at myffpc.com. That's myffpc.com, promo code NERDS.
You're at the clock.
I know. Quit trying to skip me, man.
I would never do
That's
that.
twice. That's twice you tried to do that in the first round.
Yeah, he has.
I just get so excited when it comes to rookie picks. I'm like, am I on the clock?
Nope.
I'm not on the clock.
Oh, it's only my third pick. You try to skip me twice. But all right, at 111, I was up, and I wanted Emeka Egbuka. Obviously going to the Buccaneers here in the first round, 19th pick overall. A lot of questions about, when is he going to be a fantasy asset? And obviously Mike Evans on the team, Chris Godwin is on the team, and the good thing about Emeka is he's a player that can play literally any position he can be in the slot, he can be out wide as an X, he can be a Y, he can do really all of it.
He can do it all.
And we said that pre-draft. So right now, I think he's going to slide in on the outside. Chris Godwin's going to be in the slot. Obviously, Mike Evans is the X, but Evans is in the last year of his deal, and obviously, he's 31, 32 years old, and Godwin's deal is a deal that they can get out from under after 2 years. So I mean, there's a real possibility that in after 2 years, Emeka Egbuka is the number one guy there. And it's him and McMillan as kind of the 1 and 2 there.
R.I.P. McMillan.
Yeah,
R.I.P.
Jalen McMillan, unfortunately, is going to take a back seat for a little while. And
Back seat, he's in the trunk.
And I said it during the draft. Emeka Egbuka is, a hamstring injury, a Mike Evans hamstring injury away from being a very viable starter. A Chris Evans, any sort of injury that he always seems to get popped up with.
Chris Evans.
Or Chris.
Is that Captain
Yeah,
America?
Captain America.
Yeah. Never. He would never get
He would
injured.
never get injured. Right. But a Chris Godwin injury away. And both those guys are injury prone.
They are.
So Emeka Egbuka, I think, just a really solid guy and great capital here. First round, 19th pick overall. So for me, he deserves to be in the first round of rookie drafts, even super flex tight end premium. So I felt pretty good about getting him here in 11.
Is Egbuka like a mini tier all by himself there, or does he slot into the next tier of players? Like I'm having a hard time.
Not for me. I have another player that I would.
I know you're all excited about this one.
I'm not even excited about it, but
You are.
I'll explain.
You tried to skip him. You're trying to skip me.
Listen, I would clearly take him above the guy that is about to be taken. So yeah, maybe he is
I think he's kind of in a weird mini tier by himself.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that.
I like Emeka there. I mean, I think it's fantastic. It's a fantastic land spot. You can't let things like that deter. Like, I don't get immediate production right away. One, you don't know that. Two, he's got first round draft capital. We love the tape. He's a safe player. There's a clear path for him to be the number one.
Worst
it's not
case,
like Travis Hunter next to Brian Thomas.
It's going to be a lot like JSN. Like
Right.
partway through season 2, he really blossomed, and here we are. Like they were players that we comped as similar type players.
Yeah.
Like they play very similar, and now they went to very similar situations at very similar spots taken in the NFL draft.
Right.
Like the parallels are very, very obvious.
All right, so I'm on a clock here. 112. We're gonna wrap up this first round. If this is how the way it played out is, with RJ Harvey, running back for the Broncos, and this is by far the largest leap I had in my rankings just based on tape, because this player, like, and shout out to all the Dynasty community analysts out there that were pumping this guy up, RJ Harvey. Like, there's a lot of people out there that liked him a lot, and I saw his name continuously. I was like, for me, like, he's fine, right? But he's a 24-year-old running back. Doesn't do anything like overly great, like good speed, good burst, good in the passing game. But I was like, 24-year-old running back. He's just a 1-year contract guy. But then he goes to the second round of the Broncos. And I was going to love any Broncos running back, to be honest with you, if they went in the top 3 rounds. Because the way Sean Payton can utilize a running back is a high-end fantasy weapon, right? There's not a lot of competition out there for RJ Harvey to go against. So for me, going to Denver, where they had a clear need for running back, what I like the most about this pick is I understand RJ Harvey is most likely, if he even hits, a short-lived dynasty prospect. But the reason I'm taking here, and I'm so excited about it, is not because of RJ Harvey himself and his long-term value, is I think RJ is gonna, no pun intended, hit the ground running, and his dynasty value is gonna skyrocket from an ADP value of where he's gonna go in startups. So I am drafted here at pick 112. This is my real pick, as a champion of the league in a 12-man league at least. RJ Harvey, because there's
Do you know how many times I've had pick 12 and never said that?
well, because that's what losers
makes
do.
me the worst.
And I'm a champion, and obviously in this league, I'm the champion. So please pay me some respect that I am due. I'm drafting RJ Harvey here for the trade value, right? Because again, all these players after, like, there's some other players like I'd rather have like long term, like a Jaden Higgins, who's still on the board here. Some other running backs, but for me, RJ Harvey is going to give me the best trade asset. And then worst case, nobody wants to give me what I want for him. I have a young running back in my stable, and we never have enough running backs in Dynasty, even as a contender. So for me, I look at RJ Harvey as somebody who's going to give me a really good return when the time comes right. And instead of like gambling, because we know, I don't think this draft class is going to be any different. These late round picks are 50-50 chance to hit, right? Historically, these picks are 50-50 to be rosterable. So if I can find an asset to give me a proven asset that I like, because if RJ Harvey hits, yeah, he's 24, but he's still going to be a rookie in a lot of people's eyes. If he comes out and he's running back 10 overall, I'm going to get a proven asset back, whether it be a tight end, and I don't have to worry about a future 27 first plus, a receiver that I like. I could probably get the Emeka Egbuka if he hits early plus at that point. So I think he's just going to give me the return that I want. And then worst case, this is Sean Payton's running back. There's a lot of other good running backs on the board from our analysis, and this is the one he chose.
Yeah.
RJ Harvey was the 5th running back off the board. Am I correct?
Did they trade up to get him? I can't remember.
I don't think they traded
so.
up.
No.
But
In the second round. Again, we drool over second round draft capital.
absolutely.
So just because we didn't love the tape, we have to accept this player is in that clear position for fantasy success.
Running backs drafted in round 2 of 68% hit rate to produce a top 24 finish.
And I get that
top
Bronco.
24.
I get that
Okay.
Bronco Sean
Top 24
Payton
finish,
edge just a little bit more. So I feel like there's a 75% chance I hit something that's going to hold extreme value 7-8 months from now. So that's what it's a value pick to me.
So we've been in lockstep with a lot of this. This is where I'll differ a little bit on this one, because this is something that we kind of remind ourselves all the time of, is there are certain guys where the NFL doesn't always necessarily get it right. And sometimes we artificially raise up players simply because of the amazing landing spot or the draft capital and things like that. And I am going to go back to the tape. I want to go back to the tape because he was running back 14 for me. He was NFL's running back 5. There's a big discrepancy there. I had him as like a mid to early 4th type guy. He went in the 2nd. So it is a big gap. So I understand moving him up this high, and I would consider it. But at the same time, there's a lot of 1st and 2nd round receivers that are still available that would be very interesting. And there's players that went in the late 3rd and early 4th at running back that I think are also talent-wise just as good, if not better, than him. So yes, I understand the draft capital and I understand Sean Payton, but this isn't as much of a slam dunk for me. And I always struggle drafting players expecting to trade them. That's always like a risky maneuver.
Listen,
Or you trade the pick, trade back.
taking RJ Harvey here, I understand I'm going into it with a risk. I understand that. Like, I'm not saying this is the safest pick, but I think the upside is so high.
I hear you.
At 112, again, we're not talking like even like 2-1, right? Where like I'm rebuilding. I need to, as a championship caliber team, I'm putting myself in a position to take this kind of risk. Like, do I want to settle for Jaden Higgins? Could I gamble on a Cam Scatterby, who I love? I love Cam Scatterby. He went to a good spot. I like Caleb Johnson more. He went to a really good spot. But nobody has as good of a spot as this player. So I understand it's a gamble, but we say it all the time, right? Like, once we get past a certain point, like, I just want to gamble on upside.
Sure.
And maybe the late first is a little too early for you, definitely the players on the board. But every player that I see go after this as well, there's somewhat of a gamble as well.
Oh,
right? Like,
they are.
So like I know this is a gamble, but this is a gamble I'm willing to take. And like you said, that second round hit rate of about 75% on running back is enough.
68. But yeah.
Sean Payton bonus. It's enough for me. Like, I like those odds, right? Like, if you have a 75%, you have a 68% chance to like
Be an RB2.
to win $1 million on a scratch off, but it costs you $20,000 to buy it. You're like, that's a gamble, dude. But 68% chance to win $1 million. I'm gonna fork over the cash, and that's why I look at RJ Harvey. He's that nice lottery ticket, that teases you, or you scratch off. It's $1 million and $1 million, and you like get that one, get last scratch
The
off.
metaphor is going far.
I get it. The thing I worry about in that scenario is he's 24 years old. There's never going to be anybody that pays top dollar for him because of that. He's a 24-year-old rookie running back.
Nah, again, it's not, dude. He's 24. Oh no, I only get 5 more years out of this guy.
Given
Given your
what's-
2 to 3 year window.
I mean, given what's still available, I don't hate that pick. So
For me, I think it's a similar tier. I think that's the difference
Yeah.
for me, is like at 2-3, 2-4, 2-5, I feel like you're getting a similar player where I like and given an opportunity. You're not always given the opportunity.
Yeah.
Like you can't always, like we say, trade down. You can't sometimes. Sometimes the offers just aren't there. But if I could trade down into that range and get extra, I'm definitely looking to do that at this point.
And I'm with you there. And to be fair to you, Rich, I'm at 13. It's not like I have much lower than this. I just don't know that I love the theory of drafting a guy just to kind of see him as trade bait either. So same.
If I don't trade, I'm also comfortable having I have him on my roster.
Bonus.
Yeah,
Sean Payton bonus. Yeah,
like
obviously.
Listen, he's getting the touches, and what do we ask for a running back? Get all the touches. So like, even if he's like, if I had to keep him and he's running back 16, that's still a home run pick here at 112. Yeah. So and I get it. Listen, I like to tape on these guys going afterwards. If I could trade down, I would like to.
And that's the thing. There's guys that I like better with the first go through.
Prove it. You're up next, right?
I'm up next.
Oh.
He has no idea when you draft.
No idea. Like none. I go right before you, man. You just went. I went before you.
Are we going in this order that we're sitting in?
No,
I don't think so.
Nope.
Reverse order of what we would normally go in.
That's what threw me off. See,
you're the one that asked.
You want to recap the first round,
Yeah.
Garrett?
All right. So 1-1,
recap
Ashton
the first
Genty,
round?
1-2, Omarion Hampton, 1-3, Cam Ward, 1-4, Travis Hunter, 1-5, Travion Henderson, 1-6, Quinshawn Judkins, 1-7, Colston Loveland, 1-8, Tet McMillan, 1-9, Jackson Dart, 1-10, Tyler Warren, 1-11, Emeka Egbuka, and 1-12, RJ Harvey. So do we want to try to get through the next 6 picks and then we break? Because for the live stream, we're going all the way through. We're doing all the rounds. But for the podcast, this is where we're gonna cut it. So Pete, do we cut it here, or should we do 6 more picks?
We're at 47 minutes.
Oh, let's keep rocking and rolling.
Okay, well, let's go through pick 2-6.
All right. So I'm on the clock here at 2:01, and I'm looking at my pick. I'm kind of disappointed in myself, to be honest with you. I'm like questioning. I wish I would have taken someone else, but I'm not going to spoil.
Are you gonna try to steal my pick again?
Can I take him now? I'm just kidding. But I mean, I do like this guy. So I took Jaden Higgins, wide receiver.
That's a good pick.
Yeah, he went in the second round to the Texans. It's a good landing spot, especially
34th overall.
Yeah.
It's
second pick
almost. You know who,
Yeah.
like T. Higgins went in that range.
Right.
And
This is elite. This is not just. This is elite draft capital.
It's good. And I had him grade.
It's good.
I had him grade him at 74.6 in my nerd score, so I liked him a lot, and I thought he moved pretty well. Not as far as like speed goes, but I thought he moved like with his hips and like in his route running, and he was pretty nimble for being 6'4", 215. He has a real good basketball background, and that shows up in his tape. So I think CJ Stroud's getting a really nice red zone target to pair alongside with Nico Collins. So we'll see what kind of role he takes on in that offense, but I think he's definitely going to be on the outside opposite Nico Collins. That's where I project him to be. And yeah, it's a good offense to land in. So I like this spot.
All right. I was glad that you took Higgins.
I know.
But honestly, I would have been glad with either guy because I didn't want to have to choose between them, because I feel like Higgins is probably the right pick. And maybe even the guy that went right after the guy I took. Like, I have no problem, and I think those are wise picks. But at some point, you got to get the boo. And I got Cam Scatterboo. Look, I get it. He went in the 4th round. And there's going to be people like, you took a 4th round player at pick 2-2. Yeah, I did.
Mm-hmm.
Part of this is it would have been very different. Similar to what we just talked about with Jaden Higgins, like pick 34. Like, that's borderline good. Round 1. Like that was the same thing with Cam Scatterboo here. Like he was the first few picks within the first few picks of that 4th round. Had he gotten the last pick of the 3rd round, we're saying 3rd round draft capital. All of a sudden, he's flying up boards, and we're all excited. I just don't see it as that much different than being pick 102 or what was he 107 or whatever he was. Like, there's just not realistically
105 is what he
105.
Yep.
Okay, even better. Like, there's just not much of a difference there in those draft selections. So I really like him. And it ended up being a decent landing spot. I know that they don't have an incredible offensive line. He's used to that. Like, this is nothing new. But this is a team that needs playmakers. This is a team that needs weapons. It's basically Malik Neighbors, sometimes Wan'Dale Robinson if he wants to, and Tyrone Tracy last year was the only other
Yeah,
weapon.
he was good.
And Tyrone Tracy, and that is the sad part for me is like, this is like, it used to be Denver taking all the players I like. Now it's like the Giants taking all the players I like.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, as good as Tyrone Tracy was last year, and I do think he is a talented running back, I don't think he's even in the same class as Cam Scatterbu, especially when you look at somebody as a potential 3 down back. That's the thing that's special about him here is you could potentially be getting a 3 down back in the 4th round, which does not happen very often. So am I gambling? Yeah, I'm gambling because it's much smarter and safer to take 1st and 2nd round wide receivers right here that are still available.
Did you see Brian Dable when he was asked about that pick?
No.
He was pretty excited. You could tell he was like, he just smiled like.
And he's got the toughness. Cam Scatterbu's got all that kind of grinded out. He's got the amazing contact balance. He catches passes. And Tyrone Tracy's the quicker guy now, the faster guy. You know,
Sure.
he's the one that has like a little bit more juice, but he's probably better suited to be a guy that's not taking all of the other carries.
Yes.
And remember, he's a former wide receiver, so you can have them both on the field at the same time. You could put Tyrone Tracy in the slot. I know
He's
they have
more
one
of a
Robinson.
Devon A-Chan type.
Yeah,
where
he
he's
can be
flexed
utilized
out.
there.
Yeah.
I love the Cam Scatterbu spot. I mean, this Giants were
Me
somebody
too.
who's on the board that we want to see where he goes. I love this kid's tape a ton. He, like you said, he came up with high 2nd round, 3rd round draft capital, like just missed the 2nd round. And for running backs, again,
Third
not
round.
teams.
He just missed the 3rd round. He was 4th.
Just
Fourth round.
Top-
Sorry, he just
top of
missed the
fourth.
3rd round. That's what I meant to say.
No.
Which we want to see. Want to see that 3rd round draft capital. He didn't quite get it, but again, landing spot is everything for these running backs, right?
Yep.
Who has the clearest path to touches? I wasn't more kind of like the RJ Harvey pick. Yeah, I know he had a 2nd round capital that really bounced it up. I was looking more like, okay, maybe this team won't take a running back this early. It's common for NFL teams to do that. Who is the running back that ends up on these teams, right? Like same thing. Cowboys. Like can Cowboys sign J.K. Dobbins? Yeah, and put a little damper on it. But just the fact that Jaden Blue ended up on the Cowboys, I don't care what round he goes to. Where does he end up, right? What running back ended up on the Chiefs? Because I'm looking for that clear path, and Cam Scatterbu has a clear path for
Just
teams
named
that
2
have a lot
guys
of
that I
weapons.
end up taking, so I feel good about that.
So I really like the Cam Scatterbu landing spot. I think he's gonna be tremendous draft capital, and I bet he slips later in most drafts. I know we take him here because we have him real high. I bet a lot of rookie drafts are gonna get this guy right around like anywhere from 2-6 to the end of the 3rd. Because everybody else is going to take all that draft
if
capital.
I can get
ahead
him
of
after 2-6 in any draft, I'm loving my life.
I agree.
Me
And
too.
listen, he's in a tier. I'm totally okay with taking like other players ahead of him too here, like the guy Matt's about to take, another
Mhm.
running back. I'm okay, but he's in
Yeah.
a tier. But I'm very comfortable in this tier still because I think we just entered that last tier where that I'm excited about becoming a player, right? Like I'm gonna come out of my rookie draft saying, "Ooh, I got Cam Scatterbu, I got Matt Scott." You know what I mean? Like I feel good about these players.
I really like these next few picks.
So Matt's on the clock here.
So yeah, I'm up at 2-3, and I ended up going Jack Besh, wide
Great
receiver
pick.
here. 2nd round pick of the Raiders. Obviously, you look at that team right now, and they went out and got Genty in the 1st round. They come back here in the 2nd round, and they get a really solid wide receiver that I think just knows how to get open and is going to catch everything. He's going to be a safety valve type of player. And really, they are lacking talent at that wide receiver position. Obviously, they have Bowers there at tight end, who is going to be gobbling up a ton of targets. But really, opposite of him, it's Jacoby Myers, and that's it.
Yeah.
And I think Besh is a guy that's going to offer huge upside, not just in year 1, but obviously moving forward is really when he's going to be able to establish himself as the wide receiver one. Probably not ever going to be the first target with Bowers there, but he's still going to be able to gobble up a ton of targets, I think, in this offense. And just a player that I really, really, really liked. I think I had him as
You had him wide receiver 4.
wide receiver 4 pre-draft.
Yep.
And I think
You took him 202 in the pre-draft mock.
right.
then
And I
you got
think
him
this
at 203.
draft capital does nothing to move him up or down my board. I really just that's where I see him.
Matt
still.
got a lot of hate for that pick after that in that pre-draft mock. Peter was saying so.
No,
Props to Matt on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Rage bait.
Yeah, it's funny. It's kind of like same thing. Almost go back to like that Tajay Spears pick that you got a lot of hate on, and there's a lot of guys like, oh, you take him over here with Zach Charbonnet. Yeah, buddy. Yeah,
They must not know Matt's the wide receiver whisperer.
So,
he knows
and that's what I was gonna say. I mean, what makes me really excited about this pick is one, this is a player I liked as well. I think we all came away. We really like this guy's tape, Jack Besh. We didn't know where he's gonna go in NFL draft, but like the fact that Matt had him, and Matt's had such a lot of success with all his rookie evaluations, right? I think amongst all of us, Matt has had such a
He's crushed receivers.
He's crushed the receivers. So this is where where you see sometimes there's disappointment. Oh, Dylan Sampson goes to the Browns running back too. So this is one of those moments where it's actually extremely exciting, right? Matt does get a lot of slack from taking him at 2-2, and people are thinking he's doing it for clickbait, but it's a player you believed in.
Absolutely.
To see that get backed up in the NFL draft, to go as high as he did in the second round as well, with one of the clearest paths to be the wide receiver one on their team of all the receivers taken. All the receivers taken, Jack Bash has the clearest path to be the number one receiver on his team, on a QB needed team. Yeah. Are they going to run the ball a ton? Yeah.
Sure.
Well, he'll be probably the number 2 option outside of Brock Bowers, but he'll be the number
Jack
one.
Bauer.
He'll be the number one.
24.
He'll be the number 1 X receiver.
That's you
there.
will. Yep.
So that tells me a lot. I love this. This is great draft capital for your rookie drafts and to see it actually come to life after your bold, what some people call a bold, not for you because he was your wide receiver 4.
I didn't even think it was that controversial when I picked. I had no idea that
either.
there was a big stink about it or anything. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just
I know.
people. Yeah, Matt is probably of the 4 of us the most unplugged from that kind of stuff. He's like, oh, you didn't like it? Okay.
If a tree falls in the woods, I have no idea, man. I wasn't there.
Yeah.
So I'm going to clock here at 2-4.
I love this pick. This is great value.
Hey, just chill. All right.
So I'm going to clock at 2-4. I'm taking Caleb Johnson, running
Good
back
pick.
for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Great value.
Yeah.
This is great value.
He graded out to me, ended up being running back 6 for me or 7, somewhere around there. So obviously he's going to jump Dylan Sampson. RJ Harvey jumped him though at the same time. But yeah, 3rd round draft capital is still really good draft capital, especially because the Pittsburgh Steelers did not even have a 2nd round pick. And listen, this is a team that has Mason Rudolph on the roster right now. They could have easily taken a quarterback they like here to try and take a gamble, and they went running back. I know Jalen Warren's on there, but listen, Jalen Warren's not the guy, in my opinion. He's
Not that guy, pal.
He's a change of pace running back. Caleb Johnson coming here and be your ground and pound, starting running back on the Steelers, AFC North. So for me, anytime I get a running back that has good draft capital, has a clear path to be the number 1 in the 2nd round, that's a really good opportunity for any kind of rookie draft. So getting Caleb Johnson here is an easy pick for me because, like I said, it starts to get real ugly. And honestly, for me, after Caleb Johnson, I think there's another tight end I like a lot here, but it gets real. This is where it starts to end for me. All right, anybody want this pick? It's for sale. You know what I mean? What can I get for it? Is there anything I can do to get future draft capital to move out of here?
And I mentioned earlier, RJ Harvey at pick 112. I don't see that any different than pick 2-4 here. If you were to tell me you were to throw all of these players in this range in a hat, mix them all up, and put them in almost any order, I'd be like, yeah, I could see it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So for everybody that's upset about Caleb Johnson, yeah, I could see him going 112. Totally cool with it.
Totally cool.
I could see Jay Niggins going at 212. I could see Besh. I could see Boo. I could see any of these guys going there, and it would be just fine. So I think this is
a tier.
This is a tier right here.
The 2-4 is a good tier. So so if you can move back a little bit,
if you can move back,
whatever you get on top would be a huge bonus because you're
Absolutely.
right. I feel comfortable with any of those guys.
So I'm on the clock here next, 205, and to be honest, it's kind of crazy that I'm able to get a first round wide receiver here. I'm taking Matthew Golden, who the Packers invested a first round pick into at pick 23. Lands in with one of the best offensive minds in the game with Matt LaFleur. He's gonna get opportunity. It's a mixed bag of wide receivers in Green Bay. They don't really have a guy. It's Jaden Reed, pretty much top of the pecking order, but after that, Romeo Doubs, who's been serviceable, Christian Watson, he's always hurt. So Matthew Golden's going to be a field stretcher, but he's going to be on the field immediately. And good quarterback, Jordan Love. It's a good landing spot for Matthew Golden. First round capital, he's going to get the opportunity. So getting him at 205 is nice.
It is. And then you can take it first, but it's a murky situation with all those receivers there and how it's going to play out. But obviously the Packers
first round capital.
Yeah. Obviously the Packers said, hey, we have all these receivers. We need a stud.
Yeah.
Right. We saw the fade of Jaden Reed at the end, the second half of the year last year. I know he hit the ground running, a player that I liked a lot as well, but he has some drop issues. And listen, that stuff does not hang in the NFL. If you got to catch the football, if not, we're going to find somebody who will. And they invested a first round picking him. And you're right. That probably gives him a clearer path to number 1. But to me, it's murky enough. And another player, I didn't hate his tape, but I need to see more.
Yeah,
I think the first round draft pedigree,
we didn't love him.
Seals that up a little bit.
We were lower than consensus.
We've been wrong before. Steve Smith, Adam wide receiver 1. there's people that really liked him.
And he was what, the third receiver off the board?
He was the
Third, yeah.
fourth.
Fourth after Egbuka.
Ibuka
Yeah,
went
yeah.
before.
Travis
Okay.
Hunter,
All right.
Tet.
So he was the fourth. I'm absolutely taking a swing at Matthew Golden here.
Yeah.
Like
Got to.
the ceiling is crazy. We could absolutely be wrong, and he could be that field stretcher that's putting up
4.29 speed.
Yes. I mean, it's absolutely there. There were some concerns we had in his game.
Yeah. Physicality.
And just that whole Green Bay wide receiver room, like
It's a mess.
he just feels like another guy that's just going to get muddled in. And like, yeah, could he have in his rookie year, 750 yard, 6 touchdown season? Sure. Like he could, and that's fine. But do I see him having like that monster year? No. Like, so I think that's the hard part is he's going to live in kind of this purgatory of like wide receiver 3 for your fantasy football team type guy. But it's even going to be boom bust week to week.
He feels a lot like Brandon Ayuk felt when he was coming out. He was a first round draft pick. He was end of the first round. It was a murky situation.
Yeah.
People didn't really know what to do with it. He ended up going in the middle of the second round, and it took him a few years to get going because
But when he
because of the
did.
situation. Yeah, right. He did get going. So there's opportunity there. I do think it's going to be a little bit until he kind of rises to the top there.
And he's probably going to go earlier than this in most rookie drafts.
I think
would
so.
Yeah, I think we're just collectively lower on him, so he dropped here. But
All right, last pick for us on this show. Now, if you're doing the live stream, like we said, don't leave. We're gonna keep going. But for the podcast, this is the last pick of the show. Pick 2-6 here. I ended up going with Bayshol Tootin, a guy that actually just went a pick or two ahead of Cam Scatterbu in that 4th round. So, like I said, I'm looking at the 4th round overall, fairly similar to how I would look at the 3rd round in most years, because it was a deep class, because some value got pushed down. So I'm okay and comfortable with this draft capital. And he was literally was he the first pick or the second pick of the, I don't know. He was one of the first picks of day 3.
Bayshal Tootin.
I think he was the second pick, right? Because it was
yeah, I think
DK.
it was the second pick.
It was the 4th. It was 4th round, second pick, 104 overall.
Yep. So I mean, he was right there. And he goes to Jacksonville, which is a team that we kind of pegged as a spot where they could be looking for running back. Now, the reason I don't have him in this tier with Scatterbu and Johnson is that is still a murky situation.
Right.
It's a new coach, so you always feel better about the guy he drafted than the guys that are the leftovers. But I don't think he plays crazy dissimilar to a Travis Etienne.
Right.
More a linear, straight line runner than a make you miss kind of guy. But the thing that he has that the other two guys really don't is pass catching. And I think that's the thing that makes him pretty interesting. You look at what Cohen did with the two guys that were leftovers, Travis Etienne, Tank Bigsby.
Yep.
Neither one of those guys profile as pass catchers. Where did he just come from? With Bucky Irving and Rashad White,
Right.
2 guys that are pass catchers.
Pass catch.
Who does he draft? Bayshol Tootin and LeQuint Allen, 2 guys that are pass catchers. Like he's wanting to replicate what was going on in Tampa Bay in Jacksonville. So I think for me, there's some puzzle pieces you have to put together a little bit, and it's not as clean as some of the other ones. But when you talk about ceiling, this is a player that has an incredibly high ceiling. If we're going to talk about the Jaguars potentially being one of these top tier offenses under Cohen, with Hunter, with Trevor Lawrence, with Brian Thomas Jr., to be an elite offense, you have to have somebody in the backfield too doing something. And for my money, it's going to be Tootin.
Yep.
Yeah, 1 cut runner, speed, does a lot what Trevor Etienne does. Travis Etienne out there in Jacksonville, so this is a good landing spot. Who's up next?
That's it. We're gonna wrap up and take it to our second show.
Oh, okay.
You want to take us out?
No.
Okay,
just
I
wanna
will.
keep going.
We're gonna wrap up this is the end of our show for the podcast, but we will go into the second half of the second round on the next show. So we appreciate you guys. But if you're watching live stream, don't go away. But if you're hearing us on the podcast, see ya.
Adios.
I'm gonna pee.
You go pee. And
all right, so
where we at?
let's
We're
keep
in
going
the
with the draft.
We're in the draft. Okay, so now, all right, so we're back, right?
We're back.
If you listen to the podcast, we're back.
We're back.
We're on pick 2-7 here. Superflex tight end premium league. We are in a new tier. Matt, you are on the clock at 2.7, and I love this value.
Yeah, no doubt, man. So in tight end premium, I'm going to go back to one of the premium positions here. I'm going to go Mason Taylor, and he was a second round pick of the Jets, 10th overall, so 42nd overall pick in the whole draft, and you know, obviously young, like super young prospect, 20 years old, son of Jason Taylor, former Miami Dolphin great, and really liked everything about kind of his game. I know there wasn't like a ton of production there in college. A lot of times there isn't at the tight end position. You're kind of taking guys based off of skill set and what they'll project to be at the next level. So he's going to be a pass catcher for the Jets, and they're really devoid of that kind of any sort of pass catchers really other than Garrett Wilson. So I think Mason Taylor is going to go in right away and become a weapon here in this offense. You know, typically tight ends take a little bit of time, so he may be a guy that needs to develop a little bit, especially since he's only 20 years old, but grew up in the game of football, knows it really well, and is a football lifer. So Mason Taylor, I think is going to be able to kind of hit the ground, maybe not hit the ground running, but has at least a leg up on some of the learning stuff.
Yeah, he's got to grow into his own. I mean, again, he's only 20 years old. He's got to grow into his own body and get a little bit bigger. But you're right. I mean, I'd actually take Mason Taylor 2.5. Like that's how I would take him, because piggybacking on of the last show, saying like, hey, I want a tight end that has got really good draft capital and has a clear path to number 2. Like even Mason Taylor's got a clearer path than Colston Loveland, who went a full round earlier than him. Like outside of Garrett Wilson, there's not much there in New York to be happy about, right? I know they're going to want to ground and pound it. You got Justin Fields there, but Mason Taylor's a very nice athletic fantasy tight end, and had that clear path to be the number 2 wide receiver. And we don't even know how, like, how does that all end up with the Jets? We don't know. So I like this pick a lot. And in the tight end premium league, I would gamble a little bit higher on him, because
I was very happy that he was.
I feel more safe with him than like a Matthew Golden or even a Bashaw Tootin in this format.
Who?
Mason Taylor.
All right, Rich, it's back to you, but I'm with you. I think Mason Taylor's a great pick. And I like what you said about only being 20 years old, because you kind of see that, like, he does look like a kid that's still like growing fully into his body.
Right.
You get this kid a couple more years and in an NFL weight room, it does seem like he could really still have some maturing to do physically. To become like a very good prospect.
So here at 2.8, I know a lot of people are probably sitting here going, wow, I can't believe Luther Burden's still on the board. Like, I love this tape. You know, he's got good second round draft capital.
Yeah,
Again,
take him, Rich.
Too crowded. I ended up going a different receiver here.
Oh,
and it was a boom. Again, kind of a boom bust. His tape was really like one of the biggest boom bust players I saw. That was Trey Harris of Ole Miss, because, you know, he gets second round draft capital, and I know, like, with that kind of draft capital, like, they want to involve him in offense. I think they realized their mistake of taking Quentin Johnston in the first round. And then we saw if Quentin Johnston had hands, he'd be a much more viable receiver for how many balls he can drop. So I think I know exactly how Trey Harris is going to fit into this offense. Yeah. And he's such a nice opposite of Ladd McConkey. They invest in a really high-end tight end that we thought they might possibly could. So for me, this is another clear path, definitely in best ball leagues. Like, I love Trey Harris here. Great value in best ball leagues. Yeah. He's going to be the receiver they use to take the top off the defense, and they have a quarterback that can get him the ball. So I think Trey Harris, maybe he's that guy catches 3 balls for 80 yards, but I think we're going to see 3 for 80 and like a touchdown consistently enough where, like, hey, I might have a good asset here on my hand. So, like you said, we get in the mid-second rounds. Like, I'm really going to start shooting for the ceiling here. That's real high. And Trey Harris offers that. A player, I liked his tape, didn't love his tape, because I thought it was like, you know, there's no middle.
There's inconsistencies.
Yeah, there's no second level, high level there. And I don't need that in this offense. So he goes to me one of the perfect fits that I could have imagined here in the NFL. And I'm going to go ahead and gamble on that with Trey Harris.
Makes perfect sense. Yep.
All right, I'm up again here at 209, and just like the Texans double dipped with Iowa State wide receivers, I myself am going to double dip.
You dipper.
After taking Jaden Higgins earlier. So I'm taking Jalen Noel here, third round pick. No, God, why do I keep doing that?
I don't know.
Because it looks like Noel. Yeah. So a guy I liked a lot through the process. I had him graded higher than Luther Burden. He kind of lands in a similar situation that Luther Burden did, where they have Christian Kirk there, who he's probably going to be slotted behind in the slot role
They won
in
anyway.
that offense. Like, yeah, the veteran's gonna get the early work first, and then Noel's gonna have to earn it. And he's extremely fast. He's quick, nimble, and by all accounts, like he just sounds like a great locker room guy, like 2-time captain at Iowa State. So I feel pretty good here with taking Noel like in the back of the second round. Like I feel like this is a pretty safe pick to me with some upside. So yeah, I like it. I always say that at the end of my picks.
I like it.
I like it.
I hope you do. If you didn't, you probably shouldn't have taken him.
Would you guys have taken anyone different here?
I think right now this is kind of a hodgepodge of players. Could it have been Burden? And yeah, that would have made perfect sense. Honestly, the guy that not even I'm about to take, but the guy I take next, I kind of forgot about. And I'm like, oh, yeah, there's some value there. So like, I think kind of in this range here, it's pick your poison. Like what players do you see the most upside in and go with that? And that's what I did here at 210. I took Elijah Arroyo. I talked about him in the tight end episodes. Guy with crazy high ceiling.
Yeah.
And almost nothing of a floor. Like it is gone. Like it could fall into nothingness. He has been injured a ton.
Yep.
His production has not been amazing, but the traits are all there to be a top tight end. And Matt, I know we were talking about it. I really wanted to see what is his draft capital?
Where
How
does
does
he
the
go?
NFL see him as far as a risk, because for us in the second round, it's like, yeah, ceiling. The NFL, second round is still a very valuable pick. Now, the third's not if you're the Cleveland Browns, but for everybody else, like day 2 are some very valuable picks. So that being said, I'm excited about Elijah Arroyo. I think he could be an absolute home run. I see the possibility because if I'm taking a guy in the first 2 rounds at tight end, I need to see the possibility of him being a top 3 or 4 tight end. Does that ceiling exist? Because if it doesn't, I probably won't draft him, period. But I'm definitely not drafting him in the second round. But with this guy, I do think that ceiling exists.
And I'm with you there, man. And like you said, we were talking about this, like how does the NFL value him is going to go a long way as far as where we put him. Because I think I had him 6th in my tight end, or no, 5th, 4th or 5th in my tight end ranks prior to the draft. But I was kind of waiting to see where I was going to actually slot him.
Sure.
If he was a 5th round draft pick, there are issues with all the injuries that we don't know. That's something we'll never know about. But him going in the second round makes me feel pretty good about the injuries. Something he must come in pretty clean, and because otherwise the NFL is not going to use it. They're not going to use that kind of capital on the tight end position. To your point, like that's exactly what you were saying. So I'm with you. I love this pick. It's great value here, and the Seahawks. They lost some pieces in the offseason.
They did.
And so now they're kind of putting things back together with some guys, and Elijah Arroyo is going to be one of those guys.
I think Fant only has 1 year left on his contract.
And Fant's never really done anything.
Right.
Barner's
more of a blocker.
Yeah,
so
he was one of those high ceiling, low floor guys, and
Right.
he ended up being more of a floor than a ceiling.
Sure.
All right.
More of a floor than a ceiling. All right. Speaking of a guy that could be floor or ceiling, Tyler Shuck was my pick here. At 211, and obviously, the Saints need something at quarterback going forward. Derek Carr, there's a lot of uncertainty swirling around whether or not that shoulder is going to be an issue for this entire season, if he's going to play at all. They end up taking Tyler Shuck in the second round, and do I love him? No. Is he older? Yes, but this is a tight end, a super flex tight end premium league. And he's a second round quarterback that's going to get a shot. So here at almost the end of the second round, I feel pretty good about getting a guy that I think could be playing this year as the starter for the Saints. So we're going to get to see him early, I think, and know what we have in Tyler Shuck. And if he hits, maybe you flip him and you get a first round. You know what I mean? Like, so this is a guy I feel okay about flipping because he's a quarterback.
This is a guy.
This is a guy. In a super flex tight end premium. So I would feel okay just gambling at the low end of the second round and possibly flipping it to be
Kellen Moore is said to do well with developing quarterbacks too. So yeah, Spencer Rattler's pretty much dead.
I'm up at 212 here, last pick of the second round, and I went Harold Fannin, tight end premium, and I'm not going to get past the fact this is a kid that led college football at Bowling Green in receptions, in yards.
Yep.
Okay, so the Browns like to run their offense. They like to use the tight end a lot. David Njoku is in the last year of his deal. He's 29 years old, so there's definitely a clear path. They invested a high third-round pick in Harold Fannin as well, so he has really good draft capital. And speaking of Fannin too, like one of the quiet winners of this draft cycle that you're not going to really hear his name a lot, but Jerry Jeudy was a big winner from this draft. For thinking that the Browns are going to draft Travis Hunter, he'll be the number 2 instead of the number 1. For somebody who finished as a wide receiver 1 last year, this is a really good spot for Jerry Jeudy to thrive in, at least. But for me, Harold Fannin, a very productive tight end, going to an offense that utilizes the tight end, and there's a path for him to be there as a number 2 target. Like there's a path there, not year 1, but there is a path. So tight end premium, end of the second. Again, a gamble pick here, but yeah, I want to start the rest of this draft. I want to gamble on the running backs and tight ends. That's where I want to go.
This was one of our biggest disagreements
Yes.
in the evaluation process, and this would be one of my biggest disagreements
It's
here.
from Canton, Garrett.
I know, and I should root for guys from Canton, but like
3-3-0.
you just took the backup tight end with like no ceiling.
I disagree. I think he's a very high ceiling. He's I think he moves well enough in the open field. Obviously, the missed tackle rate in college shows you that. The production against high-end defenses
He
like
plays like Likely. Isaiah Likely.
yeah, he rides with Isaiah Likely a lot, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's who he reminds me of too. He's got really good hands, man.
Dude, catch radius, hands, fantastic. Instead,
Yeah.
I mean, and that's what you need out of a tight end. Most tight ends aren't movers. They're not shaker and bakers, right? Like you don't get a lot of those guys. So for me to get out again, opportunity, and that's fine. You don't like this tape. I love this tape. So you end up as my tight end 4 in the rookie process.
Another really young guy, 20 years old. He'll be
Really
20
young,
21 in July.
youngest tight end in the draft class. So for me to get that opportunity upside here at 212, like these are risks I want to start swinging on. I don't care about any. If I'm being honest, there's not many of these receivers I care about, right? Like how many of these receivers? Yeah, maybe they went here in the 3rd round. Like where do these receivers? I said this on the Nerd Herd show a couple weeks back. Where do these receivers slide into overall receiver rankings, right? Like I don't care where the receivers line up in this class. It's a weak class, right? Like most of the receivers
No, it's a fair point.
aren't sniffing the top 50 of overall receivers. So like, why am I going to gamble on some roster clogger to hope he could be a wide receiver 3? Like that's my ceiling. Give me a guy who could be a tight end 1. Give me a clear path at a running back. Give me a Tyler Shuck. Honestly, give me a quarterback that has a path, like whether it be Shedeur Sanders or Will Howard. Like I'm not taking them this high because I want to grab one of these running backs. But listen, we came to this knowing this class was going to be a strong running back class. Did they all get the best capital we
Hope
love?
so.
No. But we know running backs is a very fluid situation throughout the NFL. They could be 3rd in the depth chart, and then 2 weeks later, they're the number 1 running back. And these guys are at least talented enough. If given the opportunity, they're going to put enough on tape to at least open a window of value, right? So same thing, tight end premium. We're all chasing that good tight end. This is where I'm going to start gambling. I think the rest of my picks, for the most part, go that way. So I like the Harold Fannin. Obviously, it's my pick, so I like the pick here. At
So
212.
you want to recap the second round? I know we're like it's the second half. Like we
Do the full second round because the last show to this show. Yeah.
All right. It went Jaden Higgins, Cam Scadaboo, Jack Besh, Caleb Johnson, Matthew Golden, Bashal Tutin, Mason Taylor, Trey Harris, Jalen Knoll, Elijah Arroyo, Tyler Shuck, Harold Fannin. Gets us to 3-1.
3-1.
But before you go, tell us about Fast Draft.
Oh, if you guys want to know what Fast Draft is, it's a pretty super sweet, dope site that you can go to and do some fast drafts on. Fast drafts, what kind of fast drafts? Super fast best ball drafts. That's right. You like to just do drafts like in the summertime, off season. Your rookie drafts are over, and you waited all this time, like, oh, my rookie draft, now it's over, and you just sitting here
on the
you're feeling
toilet.
empty.
Something to draft.
Yeah, you need to draft something. Hey, don't do a new dynasty startup that you're going to end up
I
leaving.
need something to draft.
Join Fast Draft, a super fast way to do best ball drafts. You can download their app right now. It's the Fast Draft app. You can go to draftfaster.com and check them out, right? They're going to have all different kinds of formats for you to get in there and do some best ball drafts. And we all love best ball, right? Like us dynasty degenerates. What's one of the funnest parts about a startup? The draft. And usually you got to suffer afterwards because you're like, oh, I wish it went left when I went right. Best ball, you don't. You set it and forget it, right? You draft that team and you forget it. And if you use the promo code NERDS right now, they're going to match your deposit up to $50. On top of that, if you play in one contest, a $10 contest, and use that promo code NERDS, we're going to hook you up over at Dynasty Nerds. We're either going to send you, if you're an existing Dynasty Nerds member, we're going to give you some merch from the merch store.
$25 coupon.
$25 coupon. So literally you can put $10 in and get a $25 coupon to the merch store. If you are not a member, we're going to hook you up with a 1-year membership to the Nerd Herd. You're going to get access to the app, the film room, the Nerd Score, the extra podcast, the app. You got to check out the Dynasty Nerds app. You got to get this on your phone because it literally is the best Dynasty app out there. You're going to get all that for free. All you got to do is join Fast Draft down there. Use the promo code NERDS. And this is, I promise you, even if you just like, hey, I'm going to put $10 in here to get this Nerd hook up, you're like, ooh, that was fun.
Got to play.
Here's another $20.
Mhm.
I'm going to be so rich.
Got to enter a contest.
Yeah, enter one contest, you're good to go. Don't forget about FFPC though. FFPC, if you're trying to get in a new Dynasty league, and after the draft, you probably are. You're like, I'm ready for a startup. Like, sign me up. I want to get in on a new league. Look, you can play for $35. You can play for $100. You can play for $2,500. Like there's all kinds of leagues over there. They have unique Triflex format, a bunch of different things that you can try, different types of leagues, styles of leagues, but you never have to worry about them folding over at FFPC. So go to myffpc.com. That's myffpc.com. Use the promo code NERDS, and we will make sure we hook you up with $25 off your first new entry.
3-1.
right.
You're on the clock. You got 5 seconds.
Yeah,
Pick.
I'm gonna save the show again. Not let these wide receivers keep falling.
Thank you, Jared.
Luther Burden, 2nd round draft capital, goes to the Bears. Murky situation as far as what kind of opportunity he's going to see, because obviously they took Colston Loveland in the 1st round, still have DJ Moore, still have Roma Dunze. So, I mean, do you guys think he's going to immediately go into that slot role and start there from the get?
Probably, but I don't know how many targets this dude's going to
Yeah,
get.
no, that's the thing. That's like, who's going to get the target share? So
It could end up just being messy for all of them, honestly. We'll have to see.
and the reason why he's fallen this far amongst our group, we did not have him graded as high as consensus. But again, we could be wrong. We all agree he's
Talented.
dynamic as
Right.
hell when he gets the ball in his hands. So if, I think they're going to find a way to get the ball in his hands. They're going to have to. That's why they drafted him. So he has that dynamicism. Going to take him here at 3-1, which he's not going to last that long in most drafts.
No, I heavily considered him at 210.
Yeah.
I'm not touching him before like 2.6, 2.7.
Yeah.
But anytime after that, I'm totally fine with it.
Yeah, I don't listen. This is a player like I didn't love the tape. I don't love all the background noise around him as well. And this is like worst case scenario, right? Like I was worried about Colston Loveland. He goes.
At least it's a good offense, though. There's a ceiling.
Okay, again, I don't even care about that. You're right. There's a ceiling, but listen, he doesn't even go like Emeka Egbuka, right? Like where there's a 31-year-old and a 29-year-old ahead of him. He goes somewhere where they just took a guy top 10 last year at his position. They just took another receiving weapon in the top 10 again this year ahead of him. They just extended a receiver who's a former 1st-round receiver, who's a much better Luther Burden in DJ Moore. Where is the path for targets here? Like
I know
it's almost like a Jameson Williams role in Detroit. At no point do you really feel comfortable putting Jameson in your lineup for the most part. And he had a clearer path to targets. And I like Jameson Williams. I like him as a player. But like for me, at what point do you put Luther Burden in your starting lineup and you're like, I feel good about this? And you're right.
I mean, at
It
this
hurts
point,
other
none of
players.
these guys are guys that you put them in your lineup and you feel good about it.
I know, but I'm going back. I'm gonna chase the upside. I think there's other receivers here that have a clearer path. Like the guy that I think you take next. Is that you? Yeah. I think he has a clearer path to targets. Like again, like
I almost took him instead.
like what do we like? What like best case? Like does anybody realistically listen or you guys think Luther Burden is going to outproduce Colston Loveland, DJ Moore, or Roma Dunze? Let alone all 3 of them. Right? Like I would say he can't outproduce any of those guys.
No.
Exactly. So like to me, it's almost like what a waste of a draft pick for me. Like again, because that juice isn't worth the squeeze. Like you're hoping for like these 3 crazy things that like even again.
But if we're willing to wait a year or 2 on other players, in a year or 2, this situation could look drastically different. It could.
In the NFL, anything is possible. Yes, it could look different. I just don't love the player.
I don't either.
And
None
I
of us
understand
do.
there's a ton of upside there. I just am not willing to chase it. I just don't care about next year there'll be somebody that doesn't have the kind of red flags that I see.
I
on
totally
film,
understand it.
that I'll just go after that guy.
I'm just saying I
I'm cool
don't
with it.
think it's a waste of a pick.
I
Like
do.
I don't know that I would.
Not in the third round. It's not a wasted
Yeah,
pick.
to be fair,
but
that's fair. Third round
But
picks
at
are
the same time,
gambles.
I'll go burn my third round pick on something else personally.
Yeah,
Would you
You know what
burn
I
it on Kyle Williams, who I take here at
I
3-2?
I would.
All right,
yeah,
Kyle
me too.
Williams.
I would take Kyle Williams ahead of Luther Burden.
Kyle Williams here at 3-2.
I did it for the show. All right.
We appreciate you laying on that grenade, Jared. So
I would take the next 4 guys in a real draft probably before Burden too.
Kyle Williams, a player that we liked, and Jared, actually, you didn't get a chance to talk about him on the show. You weren't there that week, but you might have ended up being the highest on him out of all of us. Like, you really liked this player. So I was kind of surprised you didn't go with him here. But he gets early third round draft capital to the Patriots.
Yeah.
Now, I know our traditional minds over the past 5-6 years are like, oh, that's a death sentence.
Yeah.
And
So
it kind of has been.
If New England picked them, then they're bad.
There's no hope, you know. And to be fair, that's feels kind of right at
And
times.
to be fair, I also just never liked those players before they picked them.
Right.
It wasn't like
I don't like
in
Thornton. I
response to
don't
the
like
fact
Polk. I don't like
right.
yeah.
It wasn't in response to them picking them. It was I didn't like that player. Then they happened to pick him.
But I will say this is a receiver where when I watched the tape, I was like, I see the ceiling people are talking about.
Sure.
I get it. Am I willing to put him in my top 5 like I've seen him some places? No, but he's got traits.
Yeah. If he was more consistent with catching the football,
Yes.
he'd be way up there.
Yeah. And you know, maybe a little bit more size or something like that. Like, he's got almost in a lot of areas, but what he does really well is he moves with the ball and without the ball. Like, he moves really well.
Yeah.
And he's got that quick first step off the line. So there's things like that where this could be finally a legitimate receiving option for a guy like Drake May. And it's nice because a lot of these other receivers they've drafted recently have the pressure of trying to come in and be the number 1. And then they don't even like get to play really.
Yeah.
Whereas they signed Stephon Diggs. Kyle Williams doesn't have to come in and be the wide receiver 1. He can come in and be the wide receiver 2, develop. And then in 2 years or so, when he has the opportunity to maybe be the 1, maybe he is. And with a guy like Drake May, who I like a lot, that could end up being a very valuable player. So honestly, like I said before, I kind of missed him when, you know, we had like 25 minutes. We were trying to get this draft done and, you know, before the show and stuff. And I saw him and I was like, oh man, I would have probably really considered him at 210. So I really like Kyle Williams. He's a player that I think I'll end up having a decent share of in my portfolio.
Yeah, no, he is a nice player, and obviously landing spot is wide open as far as pass catchers. So you know, a lot of potential, especially, you know, long-term potential for any pass catchers there in that offense. So I was up on the clock next at 3-3, and I ended up going. This is a complete upside pick for me.
Yeah.
Jalen Milroe, and you know, obviously he lands at the Seahawks in the 3rd round. They ended up shipping off Sam Howell over there to Minnesota, kind of in a corresponding move shortly after they picked him. So it's Milroe as the number 2 there for now, behind Sam Darnold.
2 completely different quarterbacks.
Two completely different quarterbacks, and you know, obviously, you look at who's coaching there in Seattle. They all came from Baltimore, which, you know, knows how to utilize, knows how hard it is to go against a running quarterback, and they go and get the best running quarterback in this draft with Jalen Milroe. There's no 2 ways about it. He's the only guy that presents that like complete dual threat type of upside, as long as he learns how to throw the ball. And that's,
which was Lamar's question coming out.
It totally was. So for me, you know, Sam Darnold obviously is on a 3-year deal, but it is basically a 1-year deal. Then they can get out from underneath it. There is like a big $15 million roster bonus due at the beginning of next year. So it could turn into a 2-year deal if Milroe's not ready.
And
a guy-
it
but a
might
guy-
be good for him
I
to
was gonna
get
say
2 years.
a guy like Milroe needs a couple of years, I think, to kind of iron some things out and get going. So at this point in the draft, I feel pretty good about getting a guy that could potentially, in my eyes, be a big time weapon as a quarterback.
I'm going to say something real quick, and you guys tell me if you think I'm crazy or not.
You're crazy.
I think I would draft Milroe ahead of Shuck.
I wouldn't blame you.
Like,
I mean, I think Shuck is the guy that's going to instantly get something.
maybe more instant gratification,
Yeah.
but I just look at that New Orleans situation, and I'm just like, he's already a quarterback I don't love.
Sure.
And then it's to a situation that's just barren.
Yeah.
So it's like, man, it's going to be hard for him to succeed. And it's going to be just as hard for Jalen Milroe to succeed. I mean, he's got so many things stacked against him with the later draft capital and just the inaccuracies. But what the ceiling is
For
is
fantasy
just
football,
so crazy.
Yeah.
So that's the thing for me where I'm like, I might, even though like it feels wrong to take a third round quarterback that's such a project, I'd have a second round quarterback that's more polished. The ceiling is just
For fantasy football, it's bonkers.
the
I mean,
hit
that's-
rates on third round rookie picks it's pretty bad.
it's about 8%.
Swing for upside.
Yeah,
About
swing for
8%.
upside. And that's why, like, at my pick here at 3-4, like, I love the swing I took here at upside in
Yeah.
a tight end premium league, even in a 1 QB league. I get Terrence Ferguson. Like, this is a tight end class that we came away with. Like, outside those top 4 guys, like, we felt pretty good about all the tight ends, right? We all thought they were like
fun.
a little stiff hip, but they all had really good hands.
That
And what did we say about them?
was universal.
All these tight ends are going to be dependent on draft capital and opportunity. And Terrence Ferguson, I'm going to hear in the third round, got both. He gives a second round NFL draft pick, so he's got really good draft capital onto a team that has lately, historically, hit on their draft picks. They've done an excellent job. Les Snead has drafted him and McVay together. And I've seen McVay's vision. Like, I feel like they've been searching for a tight end, right? We saw, and there's always those glimpses like of a Tyler Higbee, these tight ends that come here and get some opportunity. And I think Terrence Ferguson slide here with that draft capital. They have a plan for him. Devontae Adams is 32 years old, right? And the McVay offense, I think this is a really good spot.
Stafford,
So, same thing. So instead of for me, like, where I'm a gamble on one of these receivers, or even like a guy Luther Burden who everybody loves, like,
I love this.
that's
pick.
that's murky. Give me somebody in a tight end premium that has a chance to shoot up the boards and come out of like a nowhere, ends up being tight end 6, and he's a rookie. That holds a lot of value. So if I can get somebody like that in a tight end premium league who has second round draft capital, who's not a blocking tight end, I love that value.
Yeah, I think Ferguson is probably one of the best third round picks you should make or be targeting in your third rounds of rookie drafts. Like,
Agree.
I love them coming out. I think it's a great landing spot.
I mean, if you took him in your second round of your rookie draft, I would have no problem with it.
Yeah.
If you're in need of tight end, I mean, that's
Yeah.
he
Gamble.
went early enough that it's worth it, and he's got traits. He's fast, man. He's one of the fastest, if not the fastest, tight end in the 40 this year. So he's got speed.
That ran anyway.
Yeah, and it shows on tape though. He also looks good and
smooth.
fast on tape. So
Yeah, and like, listen, I say this all the
That's
time.
interesting.
As being a tight end slut of the group, like when I'm in back into my drafts, like I loved because like a lot of people are grabbing running backs, receivers. Like anytime there's opportunity to grab an upside tight end, I'm loading those guys up on my rosters. I want to have a bunch of tight ends because like I'm like that's how it works out. Like that tight end, if I have a bunch, you're right. Oh, tight end 7 to tight end 14s. They're pretty close. Yeah, you're right. So give me as many opportunities for that 1 year. I can have that guy that is tight end 7 on my roster. And with the upside of getting like a Sam Laporta that kind of shoots up, who was also a second round pick, who gets a chance to shoot up and be a top 5 fantasy football tight end.
yeah, no doubt, man. It's a good pick right there.
All right. I'm back up here. I was trying to find the ADP on the rookies on the Fast Draft app right now so we can kind of get a feel, but I feel like it's kind of skewed still.
It's skewed still from pre-draft.
Pre-draft.
I mean,
Yeah.
if you try to do a mock on like sleeper, you're still gonna go in the first round in super flex drafts.
Yeah, it'll be a few days before we can truly see what the
normalizes a
ADP is
little bit.
looking like. Yeah. So 305 here. I'm taking a guy that we all generally pretty much liked at the wide receiver position, Jalen Royals, who goes to the Chiefs in the
Mhm.
4th round. So we like that landing spot. I mean,
Little murky.
yeah, a
A
little
lot
bit
of guys, but
murky for everyone. So there's opportunity to compete and maybe
Absolutely.
earn some targets. So 3rd pick, like we said earlier, just throwing darts at this point, and I'm gonna throw it at a pre-draft process that lands in a good landing spot with decent draft capital.
For our Nerd Score. Now, this isn't Nerd Score Plus, which will be releasing this evening, so you guys will have that tomorrow for your rookie drafts. But and I'm also really happy with how it's looking, by the way. But all that being said, Jalen Royals, he was our Nerd Score wide receiver 5.
Yeah,
Like this was
it's like, why is he falling?
right. As surprised as I was, there's always surprises. Yep. As far as wide receivers go, though, I was shocked because every other receiver that we had between 1 and 10 all went. And I think even all the way up to like our wide receiver 12 all went on day 2. All of them, except Jalen Royals.
Yeah.
Puzzling. It does not make sense to me, but sometimes that just happens. Guys slip through the cracks. Amon-Ra St. Brown was available in round 4. Shouldn't have been. And I remember that year I was talking about, like, I really like Amon-Ra. Maybe I was wrong. I don't know, but like he fell to day 3. And so I feel like this is another player where he's got the skills. He's got the traits that you look for. Yes, it was a smaller school, and yes, there's injuries. And I'm guessing that is what bumped him down a round or so.
Yeah.
But I like to pick, gamble on guys you like.
Where does he? What's his path to targets? I mean, Xavier Worthy, obviously first round draft pick last year. They brought Hollywood Brown back.
Brown doesn't matter.
Yeah. Rasheed Rice is there. Not long term, but he's
Rice
there
in trouble. I don't know.
Right. I mean, Juju Smith-Schuster's there. They still have Sky Moore.
I don't think he's going to get a lot. Sky Moore's nothing, but
right.
But I don't think he's going to get a lot of targets this year. But I think you use your 4th round pick on him. He's going to make the team. He's going to be there. Yeah. But I think the path is Juju's gone, Sky Moore's gone, Hollywood's gone. All those guys are gone.
Right.
Like I don't see. It really comes down to Worthy and Rice. Like that's what it comes down to. Worthy, I think, is going to be in his role. And he's going to be fine. Rice is really the biggest question because they are going to play a similar type of role. They have a similar type of build. Both do well after the catch.
Rice is a dog.
Rice is a very good player.
Yeah. And both those guys have higher draft capital, a 2nd round pick in Rice and 1st round pick in Worthy.
But I think the part that we're somewhat leaving out is the biggest guy that is going to be gone soon is Travis Kelce. That's the biggest guy that's going to be gone. And if he, with being a very physical player, can work over the middle of the field a little bit more, like that's the path.
Okay.
Like, could he be the guy that works the middle of the field like a Travis Kelce? Now, they could draft a tight end. It could end up being Noah Gray or whatever. Like, there's other guys that have shown flashes, but it's flashes. But I think that's the path for me. And it's the 3rd round.
Right.
Yeah. I mean,
so pair him up with Patrick Mahomes and hope for the best.
Yeah, I think it's one of the situations where you find yourself in the 3rd round and you're going off the tape. Like, and we all agreed we like this tape. So you're going off the tape. I'm with Matt. I just don't like it. Kind of sucks that I like the players' tape a lot. I just do not see a path here to be fantasy football relevant. So again, I'm being redundant here, but like again, I'm swinging the tight ends and running backs because I could find a Jalen Royals anywhere. I could trade for a Jalen Royals or a more productive one for probably a 3rd round pick, right? I could probably go get somebody like that. I'd rather honestly chase the upside of like a 3rd round pick for Marvin Mims, like in Denver, than a Royals because I just don't see the path. Again, he has 2 guys with higher draft capital that are younger. Like to me, the path would be like, the Chiefs don't love Rasheed Rice and the trouble he's getting to, and they're looking for it not to extend him, and that's where Royals steps up. But again, that's like a 2-year down the road kind of like investment, and like you said, the landscape's going to change so much. So many more rookies are going to come. So many people are going to pop off. Jalen Royals is literally going to be one of those names that we like the tape. He's on our roster. We enjoy seeing the name, but just a roster clogger for my eyes. But which sucks because I really like the tape. But there's a couple that happens every year. And I understand the Amon-Ra Brown comparison. That's what you could hope for.
Yeah.
I just see Amon-Ra had a much
he's a 1 in 100 though.
Yeah, exactly.
He's a 1 in 100.
Like, and I don't like to gamble on. Like you always say, like shoot for the fences. Shoot for the fences here. Running backs. So
and that's what she does. That's what he does next.
That's what I do. If you're gonna see from this point on, there's almost all running backs with one exception, which is a different ceiling player. But Jaden Blue. I took Jaden Blue here. I didn't even love his tape. I liked his tape. It was fine. But he's a pass catching running back that isn't going to be used between the tackles much. But you pair him up with a Javonte.
Yeah,
that's a good pairing.
It's a very good pairing.
Burn too, man. He can get after it. I love the upside here.
And so he's going to catch passes in this offense. He's got it. And could his role develop and his role grow? Absolutely. So even though I didn't love the tape, I saw the path of what could be for him, and he fell right into a perfect spot for that path. So when their elite, their best trait matches up with what the team needs, that's a dream scenario. So at 3-9 or what am I at 3-6, I'm this is amazing opportunity for him. And honestly, I could see him going late second even in some drafts.
Yeah, 100%. Like this goes back to what I said earlier. Like I don't even really care what round they went. Like who was the first running back they took? Who has the most opportunity? You know, like Jaden Blue falls in that category. Javonte Williams, you know, unfortunately after that injury is just not the same Javonte Williams that we'd all hoped he could be. So I'm
shocked he survived the draft without a major guy.
Like the one thing I really wouldn't be surprised if like a J.K. Dobbins ends up in Dallas. Like that's
just
what
to
would
take all my favorite running backs that got hurt and just make it all more.
You know what I mean? Like it wouldn't surprise me. But as where things stand today, and if I'm on the clock, I'm swinging the bat at this player much over a guy like I said, like Royals. Like here's what the thing with these kind of guys
trying to bury.
But that's all the receivers. I'm throwing that lump. Like this is another rookie that I love to get here in the third round. I know what I'm going to have pretty damn early in this, right? And if he's on my taxi squad, I know by the time he has to come off, like if I'm dumping or rostering, right? Like there's no clog here. And again, high upside. If you get
clog here.
Who was the guy for Miami? Back-to-back 200-yard games. Not Jay, right? There could be a path like that where like he gets here, he's still an opportunity. He busts out these big games. His value shoots up. I can get a second-round pick, a high second-round pick for Jaden Blue, or package him a part of a deal to upgrade my roster. Like, Jaden Blue's got the speed, he could burn, and he's got the opportunity. So I love this pick here.
Ditto, man.
Great pick.
And so I was up next at 3-7, and really I just wanted to crush your dreams as much as possible because I knew you were picking right
well, the
after
Browns
me.
already done that.
And I went Dylan Sampson here. Obviously, we already talked to about Dylan Sampson in the last show. He's the perfect complement to a guy like Quinshawn. So he's going to be the pass catching guy. He's the guy that's going to have that extra little bit of juice. And he's 200 pounds compared to the 220 pound guy in Quinshawn. So he really is going to be this pass catching specialist for the Browns. And it might not be year one because what's his name? Jerome Ford. Thank you. Is there for at least one more season. But Dylan Sampson right now, I think, is a very low risk pick that has the potential to really hit as a pass catcher here with the Browns.
Yeah, the situation falls into. I absolutely love the player. He's my running back 6 overall.
Right.
That has changed drastically because he's in a rough spot. Now, does that mean I could easily say, well, I like the guy's tape a lot, right? So and if he could be a pass catcher running back, he could outproduce Quinshawn if used correctly there, which is crazy to say. So I'll gamble.
But we also know injuries happen.
Yeah,
like he's one of those players where he becomes a very high value handcuff in the event that something were to happen. Like, we've seen it happen multiple times with multiple players where they get hurt and for stretches, their backup is awesome. So I think that's the kind of scenario here.
So I'm going to clock here. I'm going to end up in the third round here. We're at 3-8. I'm taking Trevor Etienne, 4th round pick by the Carolina Panthers. We know Jonathan Brooks is very unlikely to play this year. Chuba Hubbard, great success story last year.
Yep.
But, Trevor Etienne's a dynamic running back. Like he could be very involved in the passing game there. So for me, there's a path. 4th round draft capital is not terrible at all. I'm really looking for everybody who's drafted from the 4th round on from a fantasy aspect to give me some upside. And Chuba Hubbard, who, doesn't have a clear history of success, there's an opportunity there that could pop up. In worst case, he's a timeshare running back and one injury away to, again, increase value.
And he could be the pass catcher to Chuba Hubbard.
100%.
Well.
Yep.
All right. I'm 3. I feel like I'm taking all the controversial picks.
Look, this is a good one though. I don't care what Rich says.
Yeah, I'm up here at 3-9, and I mean, you got to swing at this. Swing at the upside. Swing at the ceiling. Shedeur Sanders goes to the Browns. Biggest story of the NFL draft this weekend. Falls to the 5th, and I mean, going into the draft, like I didn't want him early, but if we could get
33
back into the first round and take Shedeur Sanders, like I was down to do that.
Yeah.
So to get him in the 5th for the Browns, like I love it for my hometown team. And for fantasy football, I mean, there's a clear path for him to win that job. Like he can go and get it if he truly wants to, do that. It's just a matter of
Attitude.
why did he
work
fall?
ethic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that going to affect?
There's a path to be
yeah,
a starting quarterback.
There is.
I don't know. It's like,
I think he runs Stefanski's
is
offense
3-9
really well.
where you guys are comfortable taking him? And like,
Yeah.
I think this is a fine spot for him.
Yeah.
I really do.
he's a
And
5th round
I
quarterback.
don't see him
you know?
crazy different than Shuck or Milrow.
Okay. Yeah.
Like they're all projection, upside, hopes and dreams.
Yeah. It's
I throw a late quarterback. I throw a later round quarterback in there too. Just Will Howard, because I think there's because there's a chance for him to be like all they got is Mason Rudolph. We don't know if Aaron Rodgers can come. If not, can he stay healthy?
Looks like he will at this
Yeah.
point, but
and Will Howard showed enough in that playoff run. Like again, like can he turn into somebody who's just
Super
a Pittsburgh
flex?
quarterback?
Yeah,
You know, like again, are the odds likely? No,
Yeah.
but like I'd rather swing on a quarterback again than the 18th receiver in in this draft class.
So a couple picks later, we'll just ruin this a little bit. Dylan Gabriel. I got Dylan.
you wanted to waste a pick too, just like the Browns.
Right. I want to talk about it all together. That's kind of why I did that. Picking Dylan Gabriel because that was my next available pick. How do you guys see this? I mean, Dylan Gabriel, another person that could probably start and play in Kevin Stefanski's offense tomorrow. He's just 5'11".
Yeah.
and that's the issue.
And they clearly liked him more than Sanders because they took him 2 rounds earlier than Sanders.
Right. Yeah.
So you're right. I mean, I don't love the player, but he's got a lot of snaps under his belt.
64 games he started.
Yeah. The team liked him a lot.
I'm not
apparently,
even
when they read
sure that they like him more than
You
Sanders.
gotta
I
take
think
that chance.
it's we're not sure about the circus of it. But I don't know that they think that he's actually a better player.
I don't know that they do either, but maybe they were comparable and they were like, you know what? There's no circus around Gabriel, and I could put him in the starting lineup tomorrow, and he could probably operate my offense. Let's do that, and we'll see about
He could be in a
Shador.
circus. He could be like one of those guys that goes in like in the car because he's small. He like compact.
Word on the street is
How
the
many
Browns
people-
really liked him.
Yeah,
Like they kept it all under wraps, but they brought him in for a 30. They went out for a private workout to Eugene. They kept it all under the wraps. They actually really liked him.
All he
I mean,
did-
the dude could sling it.
Yeah,
man.
all he
I
did
don't
was
know.
put up numbers his entire college career at Hawaii, then to Oklahoma, and then
From a Brown
Oregon.
standpoint,
It's like-
they did exactly what I wanted to. I wanted them to draft 2 quarterbacks
Yeah.
in this class. Like, listen, for somebody who hasn't had a quarter, they had one Baker I love, but he's a different Baker than he is in Tampa. Like, I'm 45 years old. The last extremely good long-term quarterback I saw was in 1985, 1986 with Bernie. It's been 40 years
yeah,
that my team can't find. If you live in Green Bay and you're 45, you've had one your whole life. I haven't had one. I barely sniffed one. We had Derek Anderson in 2007, who was a Pro Bowler.
And that's not long term.
He- yeah.
Baker was more
He
long term
sucked.
in Cleveland
No,
than
but
Derek
I'm just
Carr
about
was.
like good quarterback play. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Like outside of that,
Joe Flacco.
yeah, a good run of Joe Flacco throwing a ton of interceptions. So
Yeah, yeah, right.
6 games
Listen,
or something.
you're right. If you're in Superflex leagues and you see any path for any quarterback, swing.
And what kind of
Right.
quarterbacks have we seen be successful in Stefanski's offense? Ones that are going to sit there in the pocket and throw on time
Time-based
accurately.
guys. Yep.
And both of these guys, that's what they do. So
Yeah, and that's what
I think-
and that's the same thing with Brock Purdy. That's why he's successful. He sits
Yeah.
in the pocket, throws the ball accurately on time where he does his job. He executes the offense.
All right, I got skipped.
Yes,
I'm in
you did.
between the 2 Browns quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I took this was another play that like I wasn't crazy high on,
Right.
but
Good spot.
like I said, I'm gonna hammer running backs late in drafts because
you should.
I know when I can use them. I know when I can trade them. I know when there's ceiling and when there's not. And so Woody Marks, I took him here. He ended up going in the 4th round to the Texans. It's a team that has an older running back in Joe Mixon. Do I think Woody Marks is a good between the tackles runner? No, not at all. I do not. Do I think he's a good pass catcher and can make things happen in the open field?
Yes.
I absolutely think he is. So is there a role? Is there a path for relevance for him? Absolutely. That's his path with the Houston Texans.
I would say this. I'd say there's a much more likelihood clear path because, yes, Woody Marks went in the 4th round, but the Houston Texans traded up in the 4th round and gave
They
up
did.
a 2026 3rd round pick. So Woody Marks comes into the league with 3rd and 4th round draft pedigree. They gave up a lot to get him, kind of like a Jalen Wright, right? Like I'm outside there. So
which is cool, but he hasn't panned out yet.
no, I get it. But we'll see
Yeah,
this year what we
we'll see.
have in him, right? But same thing. That's fine. If I'm going to swing again, like this is a player that the Texans really wanted.
They really
I mean,
wanted him.
They moved up. 4th round draft pedigree is good, but to give a 3rd round pick on top of that This is a player that they needed on that roster. They really wanted. So they have a clear vision for him, right? Woody Marks has a high chance to be the starting running back in Houston in 2026. So this is a fantastic gamble. Like he shoots up my board from a risk standpoint or a gamble standpoint. He's at the top of that list, like for third round draft pedigree that I want to take a swing at outside of those tight ends. So I think it's a fantastic pick. And I think a lot of our listeners and viewers, this is a person I would highly recommend taking a gamble on. Again, it's a running back. You'll know what you have pretty quickly, but I think his role is in 2026 and Mixon's a little older. And Mixon always gets banged up.
They
for
can
a
save
couple
$8
games.
million if they get out after this year with Mixon.
Yeah. So
Which
again,
they probably will.
the aggressiveness of the Houston Texans to go get this kid tells me all I need to know. Doesn't matter what the tape says. He's an okay running back, but
Yeah.
the team tells me that they have a path.
And plenty of
and that's all I'm
people
looking for.
differed on their opinion of Marks. Than us.
Yeah, he was all over the place
Yeah.
on people's
So,
boards.
Rich,
Last
take
pick?
us
All right,
out.
so last pick of the third round. This
round.
is our last pick. I'm gonna read the fourth round picks just in order real quick afterwards
Yeah, that's fine.
to get here. But I kind of went against my grain here. I don't even like this pick now. I probably went Jordan James in hindsight.
I feel you excited for a one. I'm looking at it. Like, I hate
took-
my pick.
Yeah, I
took
took
running back.
I took Pat
Yeah.
Bryant.
I was helping Peter.
This is a player I didn't like. He's a big fade guy. Like go down the field, big jump ball, big kid. But he got the draft pedigree, right? He went the third round to Denver.
And a team that needs a receiver.
Yeah, exactly. Denver needed a receiver. So like
I don't mind it.
So for
You
me,
didn't hate him, Garrett.
you know,
I didn't hate him at all.
Sean Payton likes this kid. He's a big jump ball go guy. Literally compares pretty well to a guy like Cortland Sutton.
Very similar.
And
type
Cortland
player.
Sutton's coming off his second best fantasy year ever in this offense.
And this is the last year of Cortland Sutton's deal, too,
100%.
right?
Yep.
And there's no other receiver there besides pretty much like Marvin Mims. So third round draft pedigree and a really good offense. When I'm saying I'm going to keep
There's worse swings to take.
If you had to
receivers
redo
or
your
running
pick,
backs?
who would you take?
Nah, I'd probably keep this pick. But Jordan James.
We talked him back into it.
Yeah. But I'd probably keep it with George James.
I mean, Jordan James is a nice pass catching running back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like
Do you want to recap the third round and then go through the fourth round picks?
Yeah, so third round here. Let me start back at 3-1. It's gonna go Luther Burden, Kyle Williams, Jalen Milroe, Terrace Ferguson, Jalen Royals, Jaden Blue, Dylan Sampson, Trevor Etienne, Shadur Sanders, Woody Marks, Dylan Gabriel, Pat Bryant. We did do fourth round just in case we couldn't talk enough, but that's never not the issue.
Never not.
From the fourth round
Never not
in
the
order, it
issue.
went Ty Felton, Kyle Monangai, Jordan James, Jarquez Hunter, Savion Williams, Isaac Tesla, Alec Manor, Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt, Daniel Jackson, Brashard Smith, Oronde Gadsden, and Will Howard. So that is it. I know a lot of people probably have their rookie draft starting today, if not today, tomorrow. So good luck. Hopefully that information helps. It's an interesting class.
Yeah.
For being a down class, I think it did end up as just like an average class. Knowing that, just know 24 was a really unique unicorn class. Most of these draft picks are going to be bust or roster cloggers or not very productive. So if you have a lot of opportunity to move out of these picks because people are getting excited about these players in the second round, if you can turn any of these high-end picks into future first-round picks, preferably 27, for me, I'd want 27 picks, I would really try and capitalize on that. But overall, fun class when it's all said and done.
Yeah.
A lot of excitement. There'll be a couple guys that surprised us. There always is. So who they are, we'll find out. I'm glad I had a great Nerds Retreat. We do this every year. We come out to New York. It's always funny because we do this podcast a Sunday and the Saturday is like our last day. So we go out and have a lot of drinks. Well, not you, but we do. So I'm excited to just relax now. Like it's all said and done. Like now it's like easy. Now we just draft the rookies, right?
This is the fun part.
So we'll be back next week with more Dynasty Fantasy Football.